The sun
is dying. You are the only scientist who might know what this says.
I'm just a teacher at Grover Cleveland Middle.
You have a doctorate in molecular biology. I need you to come with us. This is Project Hail Mary. The sun is not the only star dying. Every star was infected by its neighbor, except one.
Why?
We don't know.
Which is why we built a ship to go there and find out.
It's 11.9 light years away. The astronauts die in space.
It's what you Americans would call a long shot.
Hail Mary. I get it. Who on earth is going to sign up for this?
If we do nothing, everything on this planet will go extinct.
You'll find a solution.
You are my solution.
I put the knot in astronaut. I've never done anything. I've never done a spacewalk. I can't even moonwalk.
I understand the stakes. I do. But my place is in the classroom.
The world is counting on you.
This might be very hard for you to understand. But some people are not good at things.
You know who you are. You're gonna do great.
I conquered Zero G in 5 hours.
Object approaching.
Oh my God. So I met an alien. He's kind of growing on me. At least not growing in me, you know, which was a concern for a little while. I'm Grace. I'm gonna call you Rocky. Thumbs up. Nope, that's thumbs down. You would do the thumbs up. It's close enough.
Oh, hello. I'm Tim Schafer, founder and studio head of Double Fine Productions. And this is Elsbeth Larkin, senior tools programmer and junior in-house ceramicist. At Double Fine, we try to take a little time every so often and create quick game prototypes. Anyone in the company can pitch a game idea, and we have a vote on which ones we want to try to make. We forget the projects we're currently working on, basically get amnesia, and we do this for 2 weeks. That's a fortnight. And we build a few of these experimental game prototypes. We call this process Amnesia Fortnight. We've had all sorts of great ideas come out of this process. It's just like this clay. With a little bit of pressure and creativity, something interesting is created that wasn't there before. Our next game came out of Amnesia Fortnight. It's all about encouraging you to create with others, and then use what you create to destroy each other. Don't worry, it's easy to make a new pot if you're playing Kilm, our online multiplayer pottery party brawler. We love to explore new and original ideas here at Double Fine, alongside last year's Weird But Chill game Keeper, featuring surreal and dreamlike exploration. Kilm is the other side of that coin, bringing high-energy, expressive multiplayer action. You'll get a chance today to see how we're continuing to foster our spirit of creativity with this next game. Derek Brand spearheaded this pitch and is here today to talk about this fully realized Double Fine experience he's leading with his team.
Kilm is a multiplayer party brawler and is just as much about the act of trading with your friends as as it is fast-paced competitive destruction. We built this game to respond to your creative design choices, as well as your relentless cruelty to anthropomorphized clay pots. I've spent my career as a concept artist, focused on coming up with unique characters and environments at Double Fine. But I also play a lot of action titles, which got me wondering, what would a game look like that included not just the cathartic element of destruction and action, but the equally cathartic act of creation I was familiar with as an artist? I stumbled on the answer one day. What better solution than a pottery wheel? We wanted to give players the ability to create characters out of any shape and to make sure that what you make has a charming, animated personality. You start off as a little helpless, naked spirit. You're not capable of much in this state. Thankfully, you are capable of manipulating clay, and a pottery wheel is the perfect place for the creation of a new body. And when it comes time for destruction, those shapes needed to translate into capable fighters. Pots that can compete in challenges in a way that only pots can. Our game mode, Quench, brings all of that together in a 4v4 combat party atmosphere. You and your friends need to balance your pot's shape and abilities with its capacity for carrying water into enemy territory. Here, you'll navigate through the environment with your team's unique creations. Avoid or destroy incoming enemy warriors. And of course, fill your pot up with water to ultimately douse the enemy's kiln and win the game.
Got him once. Now keep at it.
With Kilm, we wanted to give players what we know they've always wanted from Double Fine. A best-in-class pottery sim, of course. With this strange concept came lots of design challenges, though, because it's a game about pots that have to transform into bespoke ceramic warriors. We had to figure out how to make an art tool, a character builder, and a loadout system all together, while keeping the whole experience approachable for anyone, not just pottery masters. After many iterations balancing simulation with arcade-like simplicity, we landed on a design that lets you feel like a master potter who can easily make any pottery shape you could dream up, even if you've never seen a potter's wheel. It's weirdly satisfying. We've carefully married the clay technology with the behavior of the sculpting tools and controls to make sure anyone can pick it up in seconds. Refine it with sponges, shapers, and straight edge tools to get specific and make it yours. As you sculpt, you'll notice the game recognizing the different shapes you've made. It'll automatically detect when you're shaping things like cups, vases, bowls, and many more.
So that means we had to ask ourselves, if I was a vase, and this vase that I just made was now my body, what can I, as a vase, do?
Every pot and kiln needs to have a core set of moves fit for a warrior. To run, jump, attack, and roll. They also must have moves fit for a pot, to fill up with water and then splash that water out. Each shape has its own unique way of performing these moves. And because your shape matters, the animation team has taken on a challenge of bringing those different pot shapes to life in surprising ways. In addition to these core moves, each shape also has its own special attack, which we push to be the most fun and over-the-top moments in the game. Cups popping popcorn, bottles turning into swords, jugs blaring like megaphones, plates flinging pies. Everyone's shape is doing something different and exciting.
As you fight over the water on the battlefield and try to extinguish your opponent's kiln,
Down. One to go.
you'll have to pay attention to each map's unique nuances. Our mantra of shape matters carries over into our maps. We specifically designed our maps to integrate with how you choose to play and what pot you choose to play as. So you'll see things like secret tunnels that only fit certain size pots and pathways that are only traversable with certain shapes.
You'll fight on fractured, floating pieces of ancient history, like an ancient Greek nightclub fit for Dionysus. It's even got a dance floor. Navigate Athena's giant strategic war map, inflating sponge warriors with water to rearrange the battlefield to your advantage. Fight in the Egyptian god Set's dingy punk venue, complete with a mosh pit where only one pot can emerge unbroken.
Leverage your unique creations. Everything from your size, your capacity to carry water, your speed to cross the battlefield, and other choices you can make will define how you want to approach your playstyle. Do you want a team full of large cups, maximizing your dousing potential?
Go that Kilm, baby!
Or a team of tiny ninja saucers ready to quickly smash up anything that gets in their way? Or a unique combination you've discovered that balances power and splashability? If you're skilled enough to end up at the enemy kiln with lots of water, you can unleash a powerful super splash ability that does tons of damage and makes the kiln vulnerable to further attacks, letting you and your team dunk on the enemy kiln to either win big or turn the tide and make a comeback.
And that is how it's done.
At the end of a round, the cycle of creation and destruction loops around again, and now you're back in the Wedge, a multiplayer lobby where you can hang at the wheel and make something cool with your friends. You've just earned XP points and chips from battle. Now you can load up on art supplies and expand your pot-making options.
I think of the game being so much about the fighting, but when people play it, they just want to create all day long.
Our decoration system was designed to support your creativity. As we did with the design of the sculpting process, we looked to the pottery studio for inspiration. We found ways to translate the experience of adding spouts, lids, and handles, as well as glazing to Kilm. Every design choice we made ultimately serves the goal of enabling a near infinite range of possibilities. We can't wait to see what your favorite designs are.
It's all about my pizza party themed small jug. It becomes a drill that can dive under enemies, and it pops up with a special delivery of destruction.
I love a medium jug, a simple handle, a 2-layer watermelon glaze, and I'm ready to bring the good vibes into the chaos.
My favorite is the large vase. It has a UFO-like animation, and it's great for team defense and protecting your Bix.
Hands down, the best pot shape is a small bowl. It's perfect for sneaking past enemies. Plus, its ice cream theme special is so cute.
One of my favorite warrior pots has to be the medium base. It's decently fast for invading enemy players and matches. The decorations really make it shine. A curved elbow spout, cupid's handle, some spiked charms with a rainbow glaze, and one butt sticker. You can't go wrong with butt stickers.
My favorite pots use the absolute most material possible to make the biggest pots possible. I call it tiny.
Whichever pot you decide to create, whether you're a budding artist or a seasoned gamer, you'll be fulfilling your pottery power fantasies when Kilm launches in spring 2026 on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC. This is just the beginning of the pottery party as we bring regular updates throughout the year with expanded decorations, new activities and game modes, and much more. Creating is more fun together, and we love your help sculpting this experience. Be on the lookout to throw down with fellow Double Fine fans and join the Double Fine Action Insiders for an even earlier look and a chance to play in our closed beta very soon.
You want me to say it 5 times? That's mean. Am I supposed to? Okay. This game is called Kilm, an online multiplayer party brawler, online multiplayer party brawler. I'll never do it twice. Okay, I can do it again. Online multiplayer party brawler. It's getting better. Online multiplayer party brawler.
Games are often at their funniest when they're not trying to be, stoically keeping up the pretense of their realities when bugs, glitches, scripting errors, and unspooling physics engines cause all manner of immersion-breaking hilarity. But what about the games that dare to be funny on purpose? If comedy's all about timing and games are all about putting players in control of what's happening and when, that can make even the best in-game joke fall flat. Still, some brave pieces of software have managed to pull it off in the face of that adversity, and we've corralled 10 of the best to ever do so, from beloved classics to more recent hits, indies and blockbusters across a variety of genres. Trying to decide on a ranked list in order of funniness seemed like too serious of a task for the subject matter, and comedy is of course completely subjective, so your mileage may vary, but with that in mind, here are IGN's picks for the 10 funniest games of all time. Or at least 10 games that came out that had some jokes in them. With all the open-world mascot management simulation games constantly getting churned out, it can be hard to keep track of them all. But rest assured, Promise Mascot Agency is the best of the bunch. Made by Paradise Killer developer Khazan Gameworks, what we have here is a town full of oddities, a van full of gas, and a story so convoluted and absurd that no description would do it justice, let alone make sense out of context. Even with context, it's still pretty weird. There are kittens in railway administration roles. There are weeping mascots doing their level best to cheer up the patrons of a bookstore. There's the constant threat of organized crime looming in the background while you hit a dirt ramp in your van, then watch it sprout wings and catch some sick air. In simple terms, you're a former Yakuza trying to lay low by operating a mascot business in the suburbs, juggling the constant time and financial pressures that come with it. It's narrative-led, but also totally freewheeling and nonsensical, and that gives Promise Mascot Agency the feeling that you're playing one big, elaborate open-world improv. And if this sounds like an especially bizarre sub-story in one of the Yakuza games, which are pretty funny in their own right, that's definitely not a coincidence. Promise Mascot Agency's protagonist is voiced by none other than Takuya Kuroda, best known for his performance as Kazuma Kiryu. A small sloth is experiencing a haunting. A welcome sign for an invisible wizard has been vandalized. Corruption is out of control in Cowboy County. Grave, deeply serious matters, all of them, which, as a frog with a magnifying glass, you must address. And yet, here Frog Detective is on this list of funny games. Granted, you don't often see detectives holding their sides and trying to contain their laughter on the job, but there's just something about peering at a crime suspect through a giant magnifying glass and seeing only a sheep in a short-sleeved shirt giving you a benign and unwavering smile. The mysteries themselves are brief affairs and exceptionally easy to solve. Instead of challenges for the gray matter, Grace Bruxner and Thomas Bowker's trio of Frog Detective mysteries are just setups for wholesome farces, soundtracked by surprisingly catchy lo-fi jazz and set in a universe of unwavering positivity and can-do attitudes. You might only be the second best detective around, but it's no mystery why these games are a good time. South Park creators Matt Stone and Trey Parker have pushed the boundaries of good taste and common decency to hilarious effect across mediums, from cable TV to movie theaters and even on Broadway. So it should be no surprise that the duo were able to work their magic in the video game space as well with The Stick of Truth. Stone and Parker were deeply involved as collaborators with the role-playing masters at developer Obsidian for this razor-sharp 2014 RPG. A story about a new kid trying to befriend his peers during an elaborate game of fantasy LARPing, the duo's involvement lends it the same quality of observational humor about gaming that made Make Love Not Warcraft an all-timer of an episode.
Come on, let's do this! Yeah, my mom says I have to be in bed at 9:30.
Why does it work? Well, let's take farting as an example. If you're older than 7, you're probably not in a fit of hysterics when you first learn that farts can be used as an attack in combat. But the Stick of Truth commits to the bit and makes passing gas more than a passing gag, turning it into a shockingly detailed and nuanced mechanic to the point that you're learning new fart moves from NPCs like you're unlocking new dragon shouts in Skyrim. The Stick of Truth and its sequel, The Fractured But Whole, both translate the cartoon's low-poly aesthetics and puerile sense of humor into an interactive experience so faithfully that it feels like one long playable episode.
Na 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 na, we still control the universe.
Nobody suspects a thing.
How does it make me? Nobody suspects a thing. That's what the wonderful soundtrack for Octodad, Deadliest Catch keeps telling you as you do your best to maintain the facade that you're just a normal, everyday human husband and father and not, and I don't even know where you get this idea, an octopus wearing a suit. As core premises go, they don't get much better than that. There's a whole subgenre of physics-based slapstick to address when you're talking about funny games, and the likes of Baby Steps, Goat Simulator, and Surgeon Simulator deserve their dues. But nobody's married the physical comedy of an obtuse control set to a genuinely emotional premise quite as well as developer Young Horses did in 2017. As you blunder through quaint suburban locations like grocery stores, offices, and your own beautifully decorated home, trying to avoid suspicion by moving in as human a manner possible and knocking over the absolute bare minimum of objects with your flailing tentacles, the real hook is that you actually care about keeping Octodad's secret.
Don't worry, we're here for you. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427.
If it wasn't handled so precisely, the Stanley Parable would be too meta, too confusing, and too pleased with itself to enjoy. But somehow it avoids such a fate, instead making walking along the same corridor over and over again feel like a delight, and hearing a new line of Kevin Brighting's silky voiceover has the same thrill as unlocking a new skill or acquiring a valuable item in any other game.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Precisely what the eponymous parable is depends on your particular playthrough. Stanley's experiencing a kind of Groundhog Day in which the only constants are that he wakes up at his desk in an office and that all his coworkers have disappeared. You'll live for centuries in some playthroughs, depending on seemingly arbitrary choices like going through one door or another. In other playthroughs, it'll all be over in a few minutes and you'll barely have left your desk before you reach an ending. The writing is playfully self-aware throughout as it deconstructs this whole interactive media thing, but the biggest joke of all is the silliness of its premise. Quite simply, how much game can one make about walking through an empty world devoid of characters and whose only interactions come down to choosing between forks in the road? Well, apparently enough to warrant an expanded Ultra Deluxe edition almost a decade later.
Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam. Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny.
Between widespread lawlessness and the harsh realities of frontier life, there probably wasn't much to laugh about for those living in the Wild West, but it's certainly been a rich vein of comedy for everyone since, from Blazing Saddles, The Three Amigos, and City Slickers, all the way to West of Loathing, a black and white 2D side-scrolling adventure RPG with an incredible gag rate. Every book title, every item description, every NPC interaction, they're just all jam-packed with warm, clever jokes. So much so that as you play, you'll find yourself turning into one of those completionist maniacs that read every book in Skyrim or pieces together Dark Souls lore just to ensure that you soak up every last drop of the good stuff. West of Loathing is smart about training you to play that way too. In your home during the opening, if you look at enough books on the shelf, you'll eventually find one that grants you the perk of having a silly walk. From that point on, you know you've got to get your nose into every single monochrome corner of this Old West caper. The original Portal certainly set a high bar for humor in and around the Aperture Science test chambers and established an unforgettably menacing foil in GLaDOS. The only way to top it? A sequel featuring Stephen Merchant, a potato, and a double cross that nobody saw coming. Unless some idiot in an IGN video spoiled it while ranking funny video games. Anyway, Wheatley is comedy gold throughout, whose steady stream of color commentary ramps up from simple ineptitude to spitting absolute malice at you, all in that charming accent.
Don't touch anything else. Don't even look at anything else. Just, well, obviously you've got to look at everything else to find the escape point.
Finally, the absolute absurdity of a final showdown between one sadistic rogue AI trapped in a potato and another who is rapidly discovering their hunger for power is not matched by their problem-solving skills. Plus, there's a catchy song.
I used to want you dead, but now I only want you gone.
If they played it completely straight, Portal and Portal 2 would still be excellent puzzle games, but it's the addition of their distinctive whip-smart sense of humor that's the icing on the proverbial cake, elevating them to some of the best games ever made, period. So if you've never played them, this is your friendly reminder to go do so, and if you have played them, well, maybe you're due for a replay.
Yeah, I can't do it if you're watching.
Ben and Dan have a humble ambition. They want to watch a Magnum PI marathon on TV. Quite how this turns into a cataclysmic event that accidentally enslaves all of humanity is not easy to piece together, but it's the enjoyable heart of Time Gentlemen Please. It's also the kind of setup that an early 90s point-and-click would have been proud of, and developer Zombie Cow Studios is ready to give a reverential nod to many of those classic titles. There are posters for Sam and Max and Full Throttle dotted around on walls in the background. There's an undead kid called Gilbert, along with quoted lines from Ron Gilbert's Monkey Island series. But rather than retread that old ground for nostalgia's sake, Time Gentlemen Please gets its amusement by poking fun at the old genre conventions, like pointing out the inherent absurdity of carrying around massive inventories of random items in the hope that they'll be useful later. Of course, making a TV aerial out of a coat hanger and accidentally time traveling isn't that much less absurd. LucasArts ruled the 90s when it came to point and clicks, but it's 1990's Secret of Monkey Island where the most precious comedy gold is buried. Guybrush Threepwood might walk around telling everyone he's a mighty pirate, but his immutable golden retriever energy makes it difficult to believe that he's the one who will pass the 3 trials required for full pirate status, take on the dread pirate LeChuck, and win Governor Elaine's heart. Not to mention he's got a proclivity for stuffing objects into his pants, not exactly a regular swashbuckler. This was the game that gave us insult sword fighting, a verbal disagreement turned into a tense combat system that only Ron Gilbert's LucasArts team could pull off. It's also a game that manages to make early 90s pop culture references sit flush with age-old pirate fantasy. Thus, we have a tropical island where a fast-talking used boat salesman in a bad blazer is waiting to accost you and where vending machines line the streets. The puzzle logic might be up for debate, but its ear for funny can't be called into question even 3.5 decades later. Your first clue that this isometric RPG might not be entirely straight-faced comes in Disco Elysium's opening scene, in which your hungover protagonist can overexert himself reaching for his necktie and simply die. Game over, try again. That's a hell of a way to set a tone. There are also frequent moments of real pathos, horror, and tragedy in Zaum's 2019 RPG Masterclass, and they're so well written that it never feels dissonant that 5 minutes later, when you're smashing a truck window, one of the options is to smash it apologetically. Pleasingly, the funniest character in the game is you, the player, in control of an alcoholic cop who can't remember where he parked his car, it's in the ocean, and who, after asking his partner to borrow their gun, puts it straight in their mouth in front of the armed wing of a dockworkers union. No matter how unseriously you take your role, Disco Elysium has a way of simply rolling with it without ever undermining the darker narrative beats when they arrive. So there you have it, that's IGN's picks of the 10 funniest games of all time, or if you don't agree with our picks, 10 games that came out that also have jokes in them. We hope you agree with our choices, and at the very least, we hope you're not angry at us for telling you about them in an effort to inform you about something that might make you laugh. What are your favorite comedy video games? I didn't actually write this list, I just helped turn it into a video, but they said that if I did, I could put some of my picks at the very end, so here's my personal top 10 list of funny games that didn't make the cut for this list of funny video games. Alright, here goes. Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, Jazz Punk, Accounting Plus, High on Life, Postal 2, Untitled Goose Game, Saints Row III, the 2013 High Moon Studios Deadpool game, which is pretty underrated, Happy Wheels, and Drawful, which is much funnier if you have funny friends who are bad at drawing. But hey, that's just me. Let me hear your picks of the funniest games ever in the comments below, and for more games with comedy chops, be sure to check out our deep dives on the best, worst, and weirdest South Park and Simpsons games, and for everything else that takes gaming a little bit too seriously, stick with IGN. The legacy of From Software's Souls series isn't just defined by the amazing games that it's made up of, but also the subgenre that's been given life thanks to its very existence, the Soulslike. It's a complicated thing though. Every fan of these games knows that defining the term Souls-like is about as easy as beating Malenia without summons or cheese strats. Developer From Software's influence on the industry has been so profound that slivers of its DNA can be found everywhere, from The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Death Stranding to Dead Cells and 2018's God of War. At this point, what game featuring towering bosses or encouraged exploration doesn't seem at least a little Souls-like? To keep our rankings somewhat coherent, we're boiling the essence of Souls-like down to a number of key building blocks. To be eligible for this list, a game must have punishing consequences for death, a currency gained by defeating enemies that is integral to character progression and can be lost upon death, deliberate combat, typically tied to a stamina meter or similar resource, and checkpoints that reset the world. While those are the essentials, we're also looking for a complex narrative, impressive boss battles, an immersive world made up of interconnected levels, and as little hand-holding, spoon-feeding, or signposting as possible. Oh, and games that are not developed by From Software. This is a list of the best Souls-likes, not the best Souls games. And yes, we're including Sekiro, Bloodborne, and Elden Ring under that banner too. Now that that's out of the way, let's get onto the full list. While this is predominantly a list of brutally difficult, beautifully grotesque games that feel connected to Dark Souls mechanically, tonally, and aesthetically, not every Souls-like has to tread that path. Star Wars Jedi Survivor borrows many of FromSoft's signature mechanics, but sends them on a journey to a galaxy far, far away, where the challenge curve is a little gentler, the punishment for failure a touch less devastating, and the stats far more decipherable. A huge improvement on the Star Souls blueprint that was Jedi Fallen Order, Survivor's fantastic lightsaber combat makes full use of dodge and parry mechanics in a system that takes the best of Sekiro and makes it literally hum. Meanwhile, multiple lightsaber stances provide distinct battle styles and help deliver the weapon variety we get in more traditional Souls games. And while combat is vital to the Souls experience, so is exploration, which is deeply enjoyable here thanks to mounts, shortcuts, and fast travel points that make traipsing the numerous planets for loot and lore more convenient and less punishing after death. The original Lords of the Fallen, released in 2014, has gone down in history as a textbook example of what not to do when developing a Souls-like. Among the first developers to try and piggyback off From Software's Rising Star, CI Games and Deck 13 delivered a body without a soul, doubling down on slow movement speed at a time when FromSoft was about to speed things up. The 2023 sequel/reboot rises from the dead to try again, this time to far greater success, in no small part thanks to a dual realm mechanic that takes corpse running to the next level. Lords of the Fallen is an example of a series getting a second chance at life and making the absolute most of it, and this resurrection was just the beginning. Since launch, it has benefited from a number of massive upgrades, including full cooperative mode and a new sequel on the way. A number of ambitious Chinese developers have experimented with the Souls style in recent years, and Wuchang Fallen Feathers follows From Software's example more closely than its rivals. Set in China's ancient Shu kingdom, your character, the titular Wuchang, is afflicted by a mysterious illness that, if left untreated, will cause her to lose her sanity and turn into a feathered monstrosity. Madness is a core mechanic, but unlike hollowing in the original Dark Souls, it's more than cosmetic. You deal and take more damage as the meter fills, and an inner demon arrives in the world to hunt you down. The only salve is to find and kill specific feathered enemies, which will reset your sanity. There's some debate about which of Deck 13's interactives, the Surge games, is the better one, the 2017 original or its 2019 sequel. These sci-fi spins on the Souls formula both benefit from a Monster Hunter-esque crafting system using dismembered pieces of zombified cyborgs to craft new weapons and armor. But while the sequel scores point for expanding enemy and weapon variety and deepening the combat system, the original is widely considered to have a more gripping, tightly told story and effective atmosphere. As our review explained, the Surge 2's updates and improvements don't quite make up for the loss of charm and character. Team Ninja is a major name in the Souls-like space, and its excellent Nioh series is represented in this list's higher ranks. But in 2023, the studio swapped Sengoku period Japan for Han Dynasty China. Change of location is just the start of Wolong's different flavor, though. This time, inspiration is drawn from Sekiro as opposed to Dark Souls, featuring a combat system complete with parries, a depletable spirit meter, and clearly telegraphed unblockable attacks. Praised for simplifying the at times dizzying mechanical complexity of the Nioh games, as well as a new morale system that links enemy resistance to player exploration and battle prowess, Wolong proves a worthy addition to Team Ninja's catalog. Game Science's adaptation of Journey to the West caused a stir with its impressive first trailer in 2020 and had everyone anxiously waiting through its subsequent 4-year development from there. Black Myth Wukong manages to combine the tooth-and-nail gameplay feel of a Souls game with the cinematic pomp of God of War. The somewhat awkward controls admittedly can't always keep up with the impeccable visuals, and so much of Wukong feels like the first-time developers are still trying to find their footing. Still, several of the bosses in its gigantic roster, there are 107 in total, mandatory and optional combined, stand toe-to-toe with FromSoft's best, with Great Sage's broken shell scratching an itch not felt since Gurman, Gale, and Ishin. Neopol's epic revenge tale set in the same universe as its long-running Dungeon & Fighter series isn't everyone's cup of tea, but those who love the first Berserker Khazan really love it. Cell-shaded art style and explosive temper call back to Asura's Wrath of all things, while its chapter-based boss rush format edges closer to Wukong. Infuriatingly difficult, the kind that makes you bounce between resignation and euphoria, is the name of the game here as you master the fast-paced combat that takes cues from Sekiro's parry-based sword fighting and adds a little extra depth. There's nothing here that truly revolutionizes the genre, but there are some very welcome permutations, like how dying to a boss will actually net you some currency based on how far into the fight you got, rather than empty your collection entirely. 2023 has gone down in history as a phenomenal year for Souls-likes, giving us Wulong, Lords of the Fallen, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and the next game to join our list, Remnant 2. Gunfire Games' Remnant from the Ashes, released in 2019, featured one of the more interesting applications of FromSoft-derived mechanics, blending them with looter-shooter ideas to create what was lovingly referred to as Dark Souls with guns. The first Remnant had many things going for it, including some of the medium's best procedurally generated levels, and the follow-up did what any good sequel does: give fans more of what they liked while fixing what they didn't. A dozen archetype classes and the ability to equip 2 different ones at a time make for welcome additions, and the bosses, which were previously a low point, are now a highlight. The best Souls-likes find a way to use the Souls series as a starting point and then leap off from there and do their own thing. None do this better than the Nioh series, one of the first Souls-likes to give FromSoft a real run for its money. It still has all the essential qualities of a Souls-like, but developer Team Ninja managed to tweak each of these qualities in ways that make the Nioh games feel familiar, but also completely distinct. 2017's Nioh expanded the genre in ways now taken for granted, taking cues from combo-heavy hack and slashers. It's still got that careful and deliberate pace thanks to a stamina bar that governs your every action, but on top of that is a key pulse mechanic that allows you to regain that stamina with well-timed button presses after each attack, which facilitates a much faster pace to the action. And while it still features the disgusting monsters and perilous situations demanded of the genre, it possesses a more playful tone befitting its fish-out-of-water protagonist, William Adams, a real-life English sailor turned yokai hunting samurai. However, it's Nioh 2, in which you play a half yokai, that we recommend here. Team Ninja tweaked what little wasn't working while expanding on what did, adding weapons, spells, abilities, and more to create an incredibly deep and incredibly challenging Souls-like. Blending Bloodborne and Sekiro with the 1880s Italian cultural icon Pinocchio, of all things, 2023's Lies of P gives you a tricked-out prosthetic arm, plus Timothée Chalamet's looks, and lets you loose in a steampunk city where automatons have turned on their human masters in a murderous frenzy. Hailed as one of the best Souls-likes of all time, it gets the look and feel of a From Software game down to a science, but still manages to maintain its own flavor thanks to several mechanical changes, such as how dodge rolls and perfect parries fit into the overall flow of combat. This is all further elevated by its excellent Overture DLC, which tells a satisfying prequel story packed with excellent boss fights that are among the best in the genre. Though Lies of P doesn't shake up the formula in any significant way, its premise and execution are cut from cloth, so similar to FromSoft's you can't help but imagine Souls director Hidetaka Miyazaki himself playing this in his spare time. And more than any other game, this is the return to Yharnam that Bloodborne fans never got. And there you have it, our pick for the 10 best Souls-like games of all time so far. Did your favorite make the cut, or do you think we need to run back and try all over again? Let us know your personal choices in the comments below, and for more Soulsy action, check out our ranked list of the 25 best FromSoft bosses, and for everything else, stick with IGN.
Bearing 447, Karam 225, Viper, Wolf, adopt defensive formation.
They're targeting us!
How long till we can fracking jump? Lieutenant, status report.
Extensive damage to our hull. Civilian ships hit. 80 dead, injured still counting. This Cylon encounter was the deadliest so far.
Start repairs immediately and allocate as many resources as we can to the civilian ships.
Commander, we're out of scrap. We need to start scavenging. Shall we send someone to a nearby wreckage?
Do it. What else?
The workers want scrap from us, but can we really afford it, Commander?
Negative. Repairs come first. Lieutenant, what about ammunition?
We used up our last nuke in this fight.
We had to. The Galactica is still many jumps away. Check abandoned military convoys nearby.
Commander, the R&D department requests scrap to upgrade our hangar bay.
We're barely able to repair our hull right now. Denied.
What about the med bay? They can't keep up with all the injured.
You're right. Give them what they need.
Commander, the workers, they're refusing to cooperate. Now's not a good time for a strike.
Open negotiations. We can't have them turn on us now.
Stratus contact. Cylons approaching.
Action stations. Deploy all squadrons. Start FTL calculations now. Raptor, stand close by. Viper, head for the Raider. Don't let them get close. Wolf, I want you to focus on the snipers.
Roger!
Keep our nukes on standby. We'll use them if it comes down to it. We've survived until now, and we'll survive until we rejoin the Galactica. So say we all.
With the original film celebrating its 30th anniversary this year, it's been quite a road for Scream, a series that operates as a witty and self-aware take on a long-running horror franchise, all while providing plenty of meta-commentary on the ongoing and evolving state of film in general, and the audience's relationship to movies.
How they crammed in social commentary just to make it elevated, how the main character is a Mary Sue.
What's a Mary Sue?
You really don't want to know.
Scream 7 features the return of Neve Campbell as the series' original protagonist, Sidney Prescott, after she sat out Scream 6, and then some notable controversy took some stabs at the franchise. One of the many elements that sets Scream apart from most slasher series is how many ongoing characters it has, and how much past events loom large in the present. So with more familiar faces set to return in Scream 7, here's the spoiler-packed story so far. The Scream saga's mythology goes back to the 1970s, after aspiring actress Maureen Roberts has moved from the small town of Woodsboro, California to Los Angeles, using the stage name Rena Reynolds. Unfortunately, Maureen encounters the ugliest side of Hollywood when she meets skeevy producer John Milton and is sexually assaulted at one of his infamous parties. In the aftermath of this horrible event, Maureen finds out that she's pregnant and decides to give her baby boy up for adoption after he's born, before moving back to Woodsboro, where she never reveals anything about her time in LA to her friends or family, including her sister Kate. Eventually, Maureen marries Nioh Prescott, and the two have a daughter, Sydney. However, Maureen is secretly still unhappy, and she ends up having multiple affairs, including with Woodsboro local Hank Loomis and a younger man with the wild name of Cotton Weary. When Hank's wife, Nancy, finds out about Hank's affair, she leaves him and moves out of town, leaving her son Billy, who just so happens to be Sydney's high school boyfriend, distraught to a disturbing degree. It's at this point that Maureen's now adult son, Roman Bridger, tracks her down, and when she wants nothing to do with him, Roman snaps, coming up with a deadly plan of revenge. He films Maureen with Hank, showing the footage to Billy and giving him someone to blame for his rage over his broken family. Billy then recruits his impressionable friend Stu to help him outright murder Maureen, successfully framing Cotton. But one reporter, Gail Weathers, believes Cotton's claims that he's innocent, writing a book about Maureen's murder, which also delves into her extramarital affairs. In the midst of all this, Billy is playing the part of Sid's loving boyfriend, though on top of the whole secretly murdered her mom thing, he also has an affair with their classmate Christina, and she ends up pregnant as a result, before she convinces her boyfriend the baby is actually his. Christina and her boyfriend go on to get married, and they name their daughter Samantha, but we'll get back to Sam later. A year after Maureen is killed, the situation escalates in a big way, with the first of many murder sprees committed by someone wearing a ghost face mask and a black robe. In truth, both Billy and Stu, using a voice modulator to disguise themselves as they call potential victims and play with their prey by asking horror movie trivia questions.
Name the killer in Friday the 13th.
Jason! Jason! Jason!
I'm sorry. That's the wrong answer.
Drew Barrymore, no! Their intended targets include Sydney's best friend Tatum and movie aficionado Randy, while the search for the killer involves local deputy Dewey Riley, who is Tatum's brother. The murders also bring Gail to town, and she and Dewey begin an unlikely flirtation, even as the body count grows around them. Henry Winkler, no! Billy and Stu intend to frame Sid's dad, Neil, setting the stage for their bloody finale at a party at Stu's house, where Randy lays out the rules for surviving a horror movie.
Number 1, you can never have sex.
Big no-no! After a couple more murders, including Tatum, Billy and Stu reveal themselves to Sydney, and how they intend to wound themselves just enough to credibly look like the only survivors in a massacre that also believes Sydney and her framed father dead.
You sick You've seen one too many movies.
Nah, Sid, don't you blame the movies. Movies don't create psychos. Movies make psychos more creative.
However, Sydney, with some distraction from Gail, is able to turn the tables, stopping Stu with a TV set to the head before Gail shoots Billy. In the end, Sid, Randy, Dewey, and Gail all survive, albeit with quite a few notable injuries between them, especially on Dewey's part. Better get used to being stabbed, my man. And Randy is proven right.
This is the moment when the supposedly dead killer comes back to life for one last scare.
Not in my movie.
Sid and Randy go off to college together while the newly exonerated Cotton is freed from prison, but Nancy Loomis is none too pleased about what happened to her son Billy. She comes up with her own plan, using the burgeoning internet to find a young psychopath named Mickey who's willing to be her partner in carnage, and she gets him inserted as a student alongside Sydney at Windsor College. In the meantime, Gale's follow-up book about the Woodsboro murders is adapted into a hit movie called Stab, starring the likes of Tori Spelling, Luke Wilson, and Heather Graham. And Nancy and Mickey use Stab's debut to kick off their new murder spree at Windsor. Jada Pinkett Smith, no! Randy points out how this time, the scenario they're in is following sequel rules.
Number 1, the body count is always bigger.
Which is backed up as more of Sydney's fellow students are targeted. Sarah Michelle Gellar, no! This second round of murders brings not just Dewey and Gale back into Sid's orbit, but also the now fame-hungry Cotton, who wants to capitalize on the publicity that his connection to all this has brought forth. Once again working together to catch a killer, Gale and Dewey begin to truly fall for each other, even as poor Randy learns that immense movie knowledge sadly does not give him Ghostface immunity. The Windsor College murder spree ends up taking out both Sydney's roommate, Hallie, and her new boyfriend, Derek, as Mickey and Nancy, who'd been going by the alias of local reporter Debbie Salt, reveal themselves as the killer. And as it turns out, Mickey's endgame involves wanting to be caught. He's excited by the idea of a highly televised trial where he thinks he has the perfect scapegoat.
I'm gonna blame the movies.
But it turns out Mrs. Loomis has no interest in letting Mickey go through with any of this. Of course, Debbie/Nancy then learns the hard way what her son already did about how tough it is to defeat Sidney Prescott, who gets some assistance from Cotton this time. While Dewey and Gale both once more take some major damage, Dewey in particular, though Gale is freaking shot, they make it through as she firmly falls for him. And this time, Sid and Gale go full Pulp Fiction after Mickey is the one to spring back up. In the wake of the Windsor College murders, having been cultivating a career in Hollywood, Roman manages to get himself chosen as the director of Stab 3 by none other than John Milton. He even hires Dewey as a consultant on the movie after Dewey and Gale's attempt to make it as a couple failed. Roman finally dons the Ghostface mask himself for a new LA set series of murders, first killing Cotton and his girlfriend. He then begins to stalk and kill the entire cast of Stab 3, and leaves photos of a young Marine at each crime scene for the cops to find, on top of imitating their mother to taunt Sydney and draw her to Los Angeles. Reunited with Gale and Dewey, who are once more becoming romantically drawn to each other, Sydney is also tracked down by Randy's little sister, Martha, who has brought Sid a video made by Randy before his murder. In the video, Randy warns about the rules of a trilogy.
True trilogies are all about going back to the beginning and discovering something that wasn't true from the get-go. Godfather, Jedi, all revealed something that we thought was true that wasn't true.
Which of course is all very correct here, given Roman's true identity and how he put this entire cycle of murders into motion. And at Milton's mansion, having succeeded in killing the Stab 3 cast... Parker Posey, no! Roman reveals to Sid who he is, the terrible way he came to be conceived, and the blame Milton has for what happened to Marine.
You don't have to do this, Roman. Just tell me what you want, I can make it happen. Any picture, name your budget, script approval, final cut!
I already have it.
Roman explains his plan to frame Sydney for this massacre, intending to make it look like she finally snapped, and he was the one who was able to stop and kill her. The two end up in one hell of a brother-sister squabble until Roman appears to be the one to finally get the best of Sydney.
Lose something? Found something.
Only for Sid to reveal she came wearing a bulletproof vest that she snagged from the police station earlier as she says goodbye to the big bro she just met.
I still got to make my movie.
Stab 3, right?
And this time, with Dewey finally not horribly wounded for once during the final showdown, he's the one who gets to take Roman out once and for all when Roman does the old one last scare bit. In the aftermath, Sydney seems ready to perhaps embark on a romance with McDreamy, with Detective Mark Kincaid, who she met in LA, while Dewey and Gale get engaged, even as he chuckles about how they both know it'll never work out in the long term. Oh man, Dewey, you're gonna jinx it. In the decade that follows, Dewey and Gale move back to Woodsboro, where Dewey is happy as the new sheriff, while Gale is more frustrated, both by small-town life not fitting her so well, and good old-fashioned writer's block. And she's also frustrated by Deputy Judy Hicks, who makes her crush on Dewey way too obvious for her own good.
You're not cheating on your wife if you eat my lemon square.
You're offering him to eat your what now, Judy? Sydney makes her return to Woodsboro as part of a tour for her own new book about her experiences battling one ghost face after another. This gives her a chance to reconnect with Kate and Kate's daughter, Sid's cousin, Jill, who unfortunately for Sid is just as much of a natural-born killer as Roman was. Jill has grown up insanely jealous, and we really mean insanely, of the attention and the fame that Sid has gotten despite the awful reasons it occurred, and she wants that kind of attention for herself. So how will she do this? Well, in the wake of an early aughts that was absolutely packed with horror movie remakes.
Texas Chainsaw, Dawn of the Dead, The Hills Have Eyes, Amityville Horror, Last House on the Left, Friday the 13th, A Nightmare on Elm Street, My Bloody Valentine, When a Stranger Calls, Prom Night, Black Christmas, House of Wax, The Fog, Piranha.
Jill will fashion herself as the new Sydney by causing a real-life remake of the murders that started it all, even if she has to kill every one of her classmates and her family to do it, including her own mother. Oh, and Sydney's publicist, too. Allison Brie, no! Jill's accomplice is her classmate Charlie, and among their intended victims is Charlie's fellow movie obsessive Kirby. Although, as it turns out, Kirby does manage to survive her attack. Good for you, Kirby. It'll just take a while to get back to her and confirm that. When Jill and Charlie reveal themselves to Sid as the killers, Jill then lets Charlie know she has as much long-term use for him as Mrs. Loomis did for Mickey, because the thing about Jill is, she has some very intense feelings on genuine friendships and why they're just not for her.
What world are you living in? I don't need friends. I need fans.
After stabbing the hell out of Sydney, Jill then goes about staging the scene to look like she was the only survivor of a killing spree by her ex-boyfriend Trevor in an absolutely wild way. Because one thing you gotta give Jill credit for, she goes for it. And it briefly looks like everything is coming up Jill, because everyone believes she was an intended target, and they are giving her just the sort of media attention that she's been craving. But as it turns out, Sydney has actually survived her wounds, which is about to be a big problem for Jill once Sid wakes up. Jill attempts to put an end to that problem, but after the intervention of the whole gang, including Dewey, Gale, and even Judy, Jill finally finds out why Sydney is the superior cousin.
Clear.
Clear?
Clear.
And yes, Jill does the one last scare, but becomes a Scream rarity by being taken out with a non-headshot as the finishing move. Things then go quiet on the Ghostface front for another decade, but in the meantime, the Stab series eventually gets its own revival, after a period of dormancy, with an 8th film directed by Rian Johnson. And this movie proves quite divisive with the Stab fanbase for its attempts to subvert what the audience had come to expect. Oh, hi, Dead Meat guys! And for a couple of particularly furious Stab superfans, well, naturally this means it's murdering time. Those fans are Richie Kirsch and Amber Freeman, who meet in the only place for true love, Reddit. Amber is not only a Woodsboro native, she and her family live in Stu's old house. She shares Richie's desire to fix the Stab franchise by giving producers the first new, real-life Ghostface in years to model the next movie after. They'll just make sure this murder spree, with a framed killer of their choosing, goes the way they'd like it to, so then, naturally, the next movie will go the way they want it to. We know, longtime fans of a franchise melting down when Rian Johnson directs a Chapter 8 they don't like. Where do they come up with this crazy stuff?
How can fandom be toxic?
During this period, Sydney has gotten married and had kids with a different guy named Mark than her previous Mark, while things sadly didn't work out for Gale and Dewey, who have split up. Dewey now lives a solitary life in a Woodsboro trailer home, while Gale's in New York working on a morning show. Richie, meanwhile, inserts himself into the life of Samantha Carpenter, who would eventually learn she was Billy's daughter and then moved away from Woodsboro. With Richie now Sam's boyfriend, he and Amber target her little sister, Tara, attacking her as Ghostface to lure Sam back to town. Among the new generations of Woodsboro teens in Tara's friend group are twins Mindy and Chad, the niece and nephew of Randy. And while Chad is a jock, Mindy is just as much of a movie geek as her uncle, observing that this new killer is crafting their own version of the now omnipresent legacy sequel approach, or as she puts it,
Oh my god, he's making a requel. A what?
As Mindy explains, Dewey, who has agreed to help Sam, is the beloved legacy character. while Sam's clearly meant to be the new lead who takes over the series. But Dewey's not the only legacy character, because Gale ends up coming back to Woodsboro too, where she and Dewey lament how things went wrong for them. And during all of this, Sam is seeing visions of the father she never met, with Billy telling her she's a killer just like he was. Richie and Amber's murders go on to include Judy and her son Wes, and then, and this one hurts, Dewey Riley.
It's an honor.
The loss of Dewey is what finally brings Sydney back to Woodsboro after she vowed to never return. And when Amber and Richie manage to manipulate events to bring Sam, Tara, and their friends to Stu's old house to play out their own big finale massacre, where they intend to frame Sam as the killer, thus creating the storyline for Stab 9 to copy, Sid and Gale follow. Though Gale is shot again, she and Sydney are able to take down Amber, and they take her down hard, because Amber makes the mistake of gloating about killing Dewey, so this one is especially personal.
You.
Richie, meanwhile, has revealed himself as the second killer in typically stabby fashion, but then finds out he was messing with the wrong girl, because with a little guidance from her dead daddy, Sam turns the tables on Richie and teaches him a valuable lesson by showing him she sure knows how to use a knife.
Never with the daughter of a serial killer.
I mean, seriously. When Amber does the one last scare moment, it's Tara who takes her out, while resilient twins Mindy and Chad manage to both survive the attacks that they suffered earlier. 1 year later, Tara, Mindy, and Chad are all attending college together in New York, with Sam living there too as an overprotective big sister. But what they don't know is that Richie comes from an entire family of psychos, who now have their own elaborate revenge plan underway. And to enact this plan, two friends of our new Woodsboro heroes, wait, what should we call these guys exactly?
The Core 4.
Core 4?
Yeah.
Core 4 it is, Chad. But two of the Core 4's friends, Quinn and Ethan, are secretly Richie's siblings. And their father, Detective Wayne Bailey, he's also Richie's father. Though Wayne never really understood Richie's stab obsession, he did what any good demented father would do, and he helped his demented son collect real-life items connected to the murders that inspired the Stab movies. Now, Wayne, Quinn, and Ethan go into action as our first Ghostface trio, first by taking out some potential problems in the form of two other Richie-inspired college guys who had just begun ghostfacing themselves. Samara Weaving, no! And making it clear that while this is all being done in tribute to their beloved Stab superfan Richie, the rest of the family aren't really focused as much on the movie side of things.
Who gives a about movies?
But as a calling card, these new killers are leaving behind the masks that belong to all of the previous Ghostfaces, one by one, even as Mindy ponders how her and her friends' lives have turned into one never-ending franchise.
The worst part is, franchises are just continuing episodic installments designed to boost an IP.
Along the way, Sam's psychiatrist and Mindy's girlfriend are among the victims, while these new killings not only attract the interest of Gale, but none other than Kirby Reed, who became an FBI agent after she survived the 2011 Woodsboro murders. And Gale's ensuing one-on-one confrontation with Ghostface has her come the closest she ever has to death, only saved by Sam and Tara's arrival. It all culminates at Richie's shrine to the real-life events that influenced the Stab movies, as the killers are revealed, only to find out that not only Sam, but also Tara are just raring to go when it comes to absolutely annihilating people who mess with them. Sam, whose Billy-influenced dark side has always been lurking, actually dons her dad's Ghostface robes and mask in order to finish off Wayne, going even more stabby-stabby on him than she did when she killed Richie. And when Ethan is this installment's designated one last scare representative, it's Kirby who finishes him off with the same TV set that Sid used to take out Stu way back in 1996. In the end, although Sam first impulsively takes Billy's mask with her, she ultimately decides to discard it, seemingly finally rejecting going down her father's path. Unless you try to kill her first, naturally. Which is good, because Sam and Tara unfortunately will not be in Scream 7, so they're hopefully off living happy lives. Mindy and Chad, however, will be back after Mindy survived another stabbing of her own, and then Chad, geez, I mean, maybe he's a Terminator or something, because that dude got stabbed so many times, but he bounced back again. I mean, good for you, Chad. We'll see what happens next for Gale, Mindy, Chad, and the returning Sydney, and let's face it, most likely add to them having lifelong trust issues because of the repeated vengeance-minded murderers among them when Scream 7 hits theaters.
I'm gonna burn it all down.
Mother!
For more about the Scream movies and much more, be sure to subscribe to IGN wherever you like to watch.
IGN Fan Fest is a celebration of games and entertainment, and today's show is jam-packed. Project Hail Mary. Hello, Sydney. Scream 7. In a Violent Nature 2. Warhammer 40K. Battlestar Galactica. And He-Man. Day 2 of IGN Fan Fest 2026 starts right now.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to day 2 of IGN Fan Fest 2026. I'm Damon Hatfield.
And I'm Kim Horcher. Yesterday was jam-packed with awesome trailers, reveals, and interviews. And if you liked what you saw, today will not disappoint. As a sneak peek today, we're looking at a few awesome IPs: Scream 7, Project Hail Mary, the cast of Scrubs, Netflix's One Piece, and so much more.
If you're looking for something to play that also supports a great cause, IGN's sister site Humble has an awesome curated bundle of PC games right now that includes Kill Knight, Inkbound, and Osmos, just to name a few.
Now, we've got some special guests at the IGN offices, Women of Wrestling. Let's check in with them.
Hi, you're watching IGN Fan Fest 2026. We've got tons of stuff coming up today, but first I wanted to say,
I wanted to say that we're kicking things off with the main event to determine the IGN Fan Fest 2026 World Champion, the most prestigious title in the world. Get ready because it's time for the biggest, the craziest finale of any event in history.
Yeah, that's right, Sibley. And as we speak, the IGN 2026 Fan Fest Championship belt is hanging at the top of a 20-foot tall steel cage wrapped in barbed wire and surrounded by a moat filled with lava.
Wait, whoa, we did not build any of that. That sounds so scary.
And inside the steel cage are 5 rows of electric fences, 10 vicious python snakes, and a referee who hasn't eaten a single thing since breakfast because everyone forgot to tell him lunch was here, and you better believe he's furious!
When did you guys do all of this? I promise we will not be doing any of that. We are a video game website.
So get ready to find out if the biggest names in movies, video games, and TV have what it takes to win the prestigious Fan Fest 2026 Championship belt.
Okay, I'll go to the hardware store.
Thank you.
First up, on IGN Fan Fest, we've got some horrible things to show you. Well, more like just horror. Horrible? You guys get it, right? Okay, well, they look like they want to kill me, which is great because that's exactly how we're starting this off. Here's an exclusive clip from the upcoming film, They Will Kill You. Spoiler alert.
Who are you?
Sharpshooter drop helicopters hit your coat for your boat, leave them all dead. Answer, nice white game plus handsome. Hoes hold me ransom, get mad and throw tantrums.
Was unexpected.
I have questions.
Answer mine first. Who the are you?
Product not yet rated.
Hello, it's Barbie Ferreira. My new movie, Faces of Death, comes out on April 10th in theaters. Here is an exclusive look at the Red Band trailer. Watch if you dare.
Now it is time to witness the many faces of death.
Come on. I dare you.
Got your eye on any of these girls around here?
What the?
I saw Johnny.
If this is a prank, you need to tell me.
He's gotta go now.
These blackouts are ruining my life.
Hey, Luis, honey, hey.
I can't live like this.
I found some healers from your old church. There is one last thing we can try.
You have called upon us because we are healers of the natural order. Joseph Smith promised his converts of the true Mormon faith visions of the Lord. Some people feel euphoria. Some are anxious. Some feel impending doom.
There's lots of memories flooding in.
Mother confessed to seeing a spirit latched onto you. You can feel it, can you? Whatever that thing was, it's free now.
How does it feel? Do you feel Heavenly Father?
Mercy is grace!
Flesh gives birth to flesh. Spirit birth to spirit. Help me! Help me! Help me!
Peggy 18.
Heart rate 72. Temperature 97.2.
Good morning to you too. I play Brianna Young, who is a pilot assigned to the Cassioplina, who goes through a very twist and turn journey just by virtue of what she does, but also with what happens throughout the game. She has no choice but to become a cat, basically, and land on her feet, adapt at all times, and she does it brilliantly. And it's a really high-stakes situation every twist and turn, and she's very exciting to play.
We know they're dangerous.
I can handle it. I really enjoy playing strong female characters who aren't really diving into that strong word. They have vulnerabilities and there's complications and they're figuring it out and they're trying to aspire to being something greater, but they need the support. I wasn't sure you'd be here. She has a father figure character in the story called Stafford, who has taken her under her wing after her father died at a young age. And he protects her to the point where she questions herself a lot, even though she's probably the best in the crew. And it's nice because you get to see what she's trying to figure out behind her eyes, but also make these really snappy, quick-fired decisions that prove herself to be the best of the best. You're safe now. And also step up in a way that makes her father figure proud.
Here you are, still flying for the stars, never giving up.
It's truly a horror, so being able to play that, which I've never done before, is really exciting. There's a lot of running, a lot of looking behind your shoulder, wondering what's there.
Young, what's going on?
Sims, she's dead. She's been dead for ages. Then the team show you the visuals as we go, and you're like, that's what I'm fighting. Oh, I don't think I'd survive in that, actually. It's wild. It's strange, because it's your face, but it's not your face. But also it's like watching an animation and thinking, oh, that character kind of looks like someone I know. And that someone you know just happens to be you. It's incredible to be able to see all of these characters go through a spectrum of emotions and have as many twists and turns as maybe multiple movies do. And play it over and over and not know where you're going to go.
If I had died, would you just pop the airlock and send me floating out into space?
For now, let's just both stay alive. I want to do a game. I want to play a strong character. I want to play a pilot again. I want it to be colourful. And it was all of those things rolled in one. So I didn't have a choice. It kind of screamed at me, really.
Hey guys, I'm Willa Holland, and our new movie, The Mortuary Assistant, is going to be debuting on Shudder March 27th. But we have an exclusive look just for you guys at IGN Fan Fest. If you dare. Which you probably should. And I hope you enjoy.
What are you doing here?
Hey, what do you think you're doing?
Nothing, sorry.
Oh, no, not so fast. Care to explain yourself?
What's going on?
Yeah, it's yours.
What are you doing?
Did
you take anything else?
No, sorry.
She's a bit of a klepto, I'm sorry.
No, you and I getting off that easy. Come on, let's go. Let's go.
That is not necessary.
I'm afraid it is. Hey, this is Gus over at Rest Stop 38. Got another one of those kids trying to steal a bottle of wine. She looks like she's 12.
I'm 15, asshole.
Mia.
She's cursing now. I know. Okay, thank you. They're on their way.
Dude, I said I'm sorry. She'll pay for it, okay?
I'm not letting her buy you booze. What do you think this is?
The fuck is your problem?
Easy.
You hadn't heard me scream yet. Now, can you do this? We'll find out.
She can scream. I mean, and the movie's called Scream. Let's get it out. If you like scary movies, you're in the right place because I am talking to the cast and director of Scream 7, Isabel May, Kevin Williamson, and Nev Campbell. Thank you so much for taking the time today. I would like to start with something that's very important to the Scream franchise, which is opening scenes. And there's probably not a lot that you can tease about the opening scene of Scream 7, but I am curious to know what it sort of adds to the lineage of opening scenes in the Scream franchise.
Okay. Well, this one wrote, I think, one of the best first 15 minutes of a film in history. And I think I'm not the first one to say it. I think many people have said that.
Oh, well.
And because he did that, it puts a lot of pressure on all the rest of the films. But I think we've pulled it off on all of them, and we certainly have on this.
It kind of became a thing. You know, it definitely was in the first one because I wanted to sort of do the Janet Leigh thing with Psycho, which is, you know, an opening scene that goes just long enough so you think, oh, she's going to live. You do turn that corner where you think, okay, this is going on so long. It's Drew Barrymore. She's going to live. She's the star of the movie. And then, boom, she gets killed. I mean, that was the whole game behind it. And then the second film, we just kind of created it happened again. And so now it's become a thing. And so, yes, the pressure is on to sort of one up and, you know, and to keep it going. And in this one, we don't want to give it away, but.
Totally one up it.
Go big or go home.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
we went home to go big.
Yeah.
That is I think that is as good a tease as you could possibly give without giving anything away. So I'll take that. Nev, obviously, you know, you and Kevin have been part of this franchise since day one, of course. But Kevin, this is your first time directing. And so, Nev, I'd be so curious to know what it was like being directed by Kevin in Scream 7. Yes. What was it like?
Sucked. No, I'm just kidding. No, it was heaven. It was heaven. Kevin's you've wanted to direct one of these for a long time, and I don't really understand why he hadn't yet. And I was very excited that I got to make the call when we had the discussion. I was like, can I please be the one? Let me call. And we were in tears. Right? We were in tears, which was really lovely because I was so stoked for him. We've been friends for 30 years, and he created these characters. He knows them better than any of us, you know? So it was just so exciting and delightful to watch him, like a kid in a candy store, be able to do this and, you know, take it. No, I loved it. I loved it.
And Kevin, this is your first time directing since teaching Mrs. Tingle. A lot has changed in Hollywood since those days. What about returning to directing sort of surprised you? Or were there any surprising challenges maybe? Well, I think you hit it on the head. So much has happened between 1998, just in terms of the mechanics. We actually don't use film anymore. I did have the comfort level of being a storyteller on set, but I was also very nervous. I wanted to stay nervous. I wanted to stay on my toes. I didn't want to ever get too comfortable, like, oh, I know what I'm doing. No, I don't. I have to like constantly show up every day and try to tell the best story, you know, and really work hard. So I tried to approach it as if it was the first and last time I was ever going to direct.
And hopefully it's not. I really hope it's not.
But it might be. So you just have to sort of like, you know, go big or go home and just really just give it everything you have and surround yourself with a wonderful cast.
Yeah, leave it all out on the field, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Isabel, obviously you're joining the franchise as Tatum, as Sydney's daughter. I'm really curious to know from a performance perspective, did you find yourself trying to emulate sort of pieces of Nev's performance as Sydney, or was it important to try to go your own way with it or find a balance?
Yeah, in a way, maybe I was definitely inspired by the way that she has portrayed Sydney for all of these years and kind of wanted to emulate that a little bit, but obviously give Tatum her own personality, her own energy and essence.
And that must have been sort of an out-of-body experience for you, Nev, seeing Isabel come in and sort of step into the shoes that you were in the first movie. Any advice going over to Isabel at all on set about how to, you know, kind of navigate this?
She's a pro. She knows what she's doing, to be honest. If anything, Isabel was saying earlier that, you know, I did talk to her just about how to keep your energy levels up and pace yourself, because of these films, you know, the schedule, we're shooting nights and then days and then nights, and then it's very challenging, both mentally and physically. So I did talk about that, but I mean, she's such a talent. And when it comes to performance of being like Sydney, I think that comes down to the casting. I think, you know, there's a weight to Sydney and there's a weight to Isabel personally, not in a down way, but she has a gravitas to her that I think leans towards Sydney's energy as well.
Tatum, listen to me. He's trying to find another way in. We're gonna do this together. You're gonna have to shoot him through the wall. Where? To the right of the door. Shoot him now! Do it now! Oh, you got it.
Of course, a piece of this movie that is a massive mystery and will remain so, I'm sure, is the method by which we have all these returning legacy cast members who are coming back. We know that David Arquette, Courtney Cox, Scott Full, we know all these people are coming back. We have no idea how. So I guess just from a personal standpoint, maybe as a fan of the franchise and as people that have worked with these folks for a long time, what did it mean to you to have them be part of Scream 7?
I will say it was exciting. Yeah. It was fun. It was nice to see these people on set. That was fantastic. But I don't think we can say a whole lot more than that.
No, not too much. But I do think it adds to the 30-year anniversary of it all. And it's sort of, you know, there is a sort of a nostalgic factor. By having Sydney return and sort of tell her story, but then also have sort of the birth of a final girl before our eyes, Tatum, you get both.
I'm very excited to see them back. We've spoken a little bit about this, but I'd like to dig a little deeper into it for Nev and Isabel. I'm fascinated by the technical aspect of acting in a horror movie. For you two, what are some of the technical nuances of the performance of a ghost face encounter that people may be surprised by, something that's harder than it looks on screen?
I know the challenge for me with these films has always been, I mean, you're almost always in a state of fear, you know, these characters. And Sydney less so now because she's got a bit of, I've got this, but it's still there. The truth, if you're going to be truthful, it has to be there. And for me, the challenge has always been like having colors of that. It can't all be one tone. It has to, you know, you have to find what levels of fear the person's in and what levels of strength she has in every moment and why. And yeah, I would say that's probably the challenges. Each of those moments are different depending on what's happening personally within the scene. It's not just about, oh, here we go, you know. There's a lot of other things going on.
The progression and being able to maintain, obviously, that kind of emotional state for as long as you possibly can.
Oh, yeah.
I think in a very technical way, screaming without screaming, I sort of learned that you place it somewhere in your throat where you're not actually using vocal cords. I don't know if you, but that's how I maintained it without losing my voice, because that's what I was very fearful of is, oh no, suddenly production stops because one of your actors can't say anything or they're just going to have to dub the crap out of it, the crap out of this. Fortunately, that did not happen. But yeah. And I was also nervous. I really wanted, I remember you hadn't heard me scream yet. And you kind of you gave me a little talk. You're like, now can you do this? You're just like, we'll find out.
Well, and also there's this thing about when you fake a scream, you can see it.
Yes.
You can tell someone's faking a scream. And we're going to, we'll add the scream later. I remember I had one of the actors who will remain nameless, said, well, can't you just add the scream? And I went, no, when someone screams, it comes from the gut. Yeah, it's part of the performance, and it will read. Mm-hmm. You have to scream. She can scream.
I mean, and the movie's called Scream. Let's get it out. I'd like to know, obviously, Wes Craven is very much spiritually still very baked into this franchise, of course. For each of you, can you remember the best piece of advice that Wes Craven ever gave you?
I feel like his advice was his energy. It was calm and patient and playful and joyful. He loved what he did. He loved these movies. He loved making people scare. He had sort of a twisted sense of humor. And I don't want to say he didn't take it too seriously, because he did. But at the same time, there was just a lightness to him that was just so beautiful. So it wasn't a piece of advice as much as we follow the lead, the crew, the energy of the crew, the energy of the cast, the energy of everybody on set is led by the person standing at the top. And because he came from joy and love and a passion for this business and patience, we all sort of followed suit. And really, it's always been a very joyful set.
Yes, I echo everything she said. He had a grace about him. It was my first movie experience, and I didn't realize at the time that the writer's the first person who gets kicked off set, because Wes didn't do that to me. Wes let me be a part of the location scout. Wes let me in on the casting sessions, and Wes let me be a part of all of it. And he was also there to answer every annoying, obnoxious question that I had. I'd be, well, he would be talking to the cinematographer, and they would setting up a shot, and I go, well, why did you do it that way? Why? And he would stop everything and explain it to me. And it was like, because he was my hero growing up, and I was the worshiper, and now he was my mentor, and I was the student. And I tried to soak it up. I didn't realize how good I had it with him, because he was so nice. He created a family. Every sort of set was a family. And so we tried to sort of emulate that a little bit.
But that's what you do. That is exactly what you do.
It was so nice.
That's what he does. That is exactly the energy that he sets on set. And you shared with me. You had me by the monitor. You had me in the edit on this. You did that with me. You're very generous with your time and your knowledge.
Well, you know this character better than anyone. We sat, I'll bring my laptop over to her house on the weekend and go, okay, so what?
Well, guys, it was such a pleasure talking to you today. Scream 7 is in theaters on February 27th. Don't miss it. We have plenty more Fan Fest coming up. Stick around.
IGN Fan Fest is presented by HyperX and Neverness to Everness.
The average Cinefix movie list features nearly 100 different films and approximately 25 minutes worth of wall-to-wall deep dive analysis. To simulate that pace for this 30-second ad, we're featuring 26 different films, and before you say it, no, that math does not check out. We're not math people, we're movie people. We can't even count down from 10 without ending up at, 96. Subscribe to IGN Movies and TV for more Cinefix movie lists. Bad at math, great at movies.
Can't find that final collectible you're missing? IGN strategy guides and interactive maps are here to help.
One step at a time.
IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and best of all, free. IGN has the very best, most complete and accurate guides for Shadow of the Erdtree, Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, and so much more.
See? It's good, right?
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts. Just search for IGN when you search for guides.
IGN Plus is where your adventure begins.
What are you selling?
Plus is the place to get unlimited access to all the tools you need to beat your games.
Here's what you need to know for bringing down Gloomspawn.
Plus, awesome exclusive discounts on IGN Store.
Maybe this would tease open your money pouch.
Plus, ad-free browsing on IGN.com. Plus, unlimited game help tools like premium interactive maps with your own custom map markers, filters, marker notes, and more.
This will come in handy.
Plus, access to sweepstakes, giveaways, and free game keys.
Wow! Exactly.
Want more? Head to IGN.com/plus and start your adventure today.
You're watching IGN Fan Fest 2026. You know, ever since the dawn of time, human beings have looked to the stars and wondered, what is all that stuff up there? Well, after years of research, scientists have concluded that's called space. Unfortunately, that still leaves us with a lot of questions. Luckily, a bunch of upcoming games, movies, and shows dare to ask, what happens in space? See for yourself.
I always tell people that I'm the luckiest guy in the world because I get to make video games with the people I grew up with.
Yeah, we've known each other since we were 12, basically, and doing creative stuff ever since.
Our first game was Planet of Lana, and Planet of Lana is a cinematic puzzle platformer that follows young Lana, who lives on the planet Novo. And one day, out of the blue, this big robot army comes and invades her planet and takes her sister away and the rest of her village as well. And then Lana's left behind, and she sort of has to go out on this big adventure to try and figure out who these robots are, what they want, and to rescue her sister, basically. And along the way, she comes across this little creature, Mui, that she teams up with, and together they go on this epic adventure.
So in Planet of Lana 2, we're back on Novo, but some time has passed since the first game. And the people living on the planet has gained access to this new technology that they're using in different ways. And there's a new tribe on the rise, the Dijingala. And they're using this technology to exploit the planet's natural resources, wreaking havoc with their mining operations and big robots.
And when Lana's niece, Anwa, falls victim to this exploitation, Lana and Mui are forced to once again set out on an epic adventure to try and set things right. And Lana and Mui start to uncover more of Novo's dark secrets, and eventually also the true purpose of the Dijingala exploitation.
So the core of the game is, of course, still the collaboration between Lana and Mui, and that's evolved this time around. So now you can point Mui all across the screen, which sounds like a small change, but it opens up so much possibilities for bigger puzzles and more challenging collaboration situations. Lana is much more agile. She can now run faster, she has more responsive controls, and she can dive underwater, which is a big thing because now you can explore the depths and the oceans of Novo. Mui's hypnotic ability has gotten a major upgrade where it lets players take full control over weird, quirky creatures. For instance, you get to play as a tiny little ink fish that you can fit into tight spaces, and it also has this ink cloud that you can use for opening up stealth for Lana.
So there's so many new places and areas for players to explore in Planet of Lana 2. Everything from icy, snowy mountains to a tropical island world, dark forests, and even urban areas and new villages for players to explore. So we're super excited about that.
We've taken everything that we loved from Planet of Lana 1 and we just added another notch on everything. You know, the puzzles are more challenging and fun and varied. The story is much rich and deeper, and in general it's just a cinematic epic adventure that's double the length of the first game, and we're just so excited to get it out into the hands of all the players.
Wake up, sleeper. We're in trouble. Lane's closing in, and we need this next contract to go right. But nothing's gone right so far.
having Citizen Sleeper 1 and 2 design works come together as one package and be, you know, one big archive of all the work done is really satisfying, but it's also a really emotional part of the development in a way. And looking back on what's been 5 years of just unbelievable response to the game, of you know, a process that I think has just been so beautiful to work with Guillaume and Amos, and has produced such nice work. Yeah, it's really special to look through those books and to think about every little decision and little moment, and the way in which we kind of like followed our instincts and tried to build something special.
Sorry, Steve.
If you haven't got enough space and things set in the far, far future, then what we've got next should surely continue to scratch that itch. Coming up on IGN Fan Fest, we're venturing forth into the sprawling, grimdark universe of Warhammer 40k, which gets even bigger this year thanks to new games across multiple genres. Take a look.
trapped in the past, beholden to time. Duty-bound, forsaken, death denied. Ancient mysteries abound, trapped within it. The Museum of Trazin, the Infinite.
Welcome back to IGN Fan Fest. We aren't the only ones out there putting on events called Fan Fest. Universal has one of their own. Returning April 23rd through May 16th, 2026, Universal Fan Fest Nights is about to get a whole lot bigger. When the sun goes down, all your favorite iconic worlds will come to life in a whole new way. At Universal Fan Fest Nights, park attendees will step into the worlds of Scooby-Doo, One Piece, Super Nintendo World, Dungeons & Dragons, and the Wizarding World of Harry Potter with new in-world experiences, themed food, new merchandise, and much more. Play out a Scooby-Doo episode in real life, venture into the Forbidden Forest to search for a lost hippogriff, interact with characters and storylines from One Piece, and meet a wide array of all the different colored Yoshis in a colorful Yoshi celebration at Super Nintendo World. Universal Fan Fest is looking to be bigger and better in 2026. Don't miss it.
You're watching IGN Fan Fest. So far today, we've taken brand new looks at Scream 7 and a suite of new Warhammer 40k games. Wow!
Did somebody say wow?
Hell yeah, they did, Sibley. We're WoW Women of Wrestling, and we're about to open a big old can of whoop ass. Let's go!
Oh, no, actually, sorry. I said wow, like, oh, isn't that cool? But sure, yeah, it also means women of wrestling.
Listen up, Jeffy, is it? When we hear wow, it's time to wrestle, okay? That is the law. Well, the two of you will handle the wrestling, but you know.
Wait, hold on. There's no way that's actually a law. That would be so illegal.
Listen, 3 letters, 1 word, 10 different flavors of pig.
Wait, why 10?
Say one more word.
Oh, okay, fine. Let me do my job really quick. We've got to take a quick break here, but we'll be right back with lots more IGN Fan Fest. Oh, God, help me, Jordan.
IGN Fan Fest is presented by Neverness to Everness and HyperX.
The Cinefix Top 100. A list so secretive even we don't know what movies are on it or where they rank.
What do you mean you don't know?
Each episode will reveal one of the movies.
Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed. That was good. I liked it.
Talk about why it belongs and finally find out where it ranks.
Are you not entertained?
Are any of the movies we've shown here even on the list? I have no idea, and it drives me crazy. Join us as we find out on Cinefix, IGN, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Why so serious?
Catch up on all your favorite shows with up-to-the-minute gaming and entertainment news with Geek Media Podcasts.
Welcome to a very special episode of IGN Game Scoop.
Game Scoop has you covered for all things gaming and the latest game releases. Tune into Podcast Beyond for the biggest PlayStation news.
Man, this is a cool looking trailer.
Everything Xbox on Podcasts Unlocked.
This is Steve Downs, the voice of Master Chief.
Catch up with your Super Nintendos on Nintendo Voice Chat.
Switch to pre-order Mania. It was chaotic last night.
And get all the latest console news and rumors with Next Gen Console Watch.
Now Xbox and Phil Spencer are even saying that a mid-gen refresh isn't even necessary.
The Cinefix Top 100 podcast picks a movie every week to celebrate and debate.
It's kind of every movie's grandpa.
Geek Media Podcasts, the best podcasts from around the world.
IGN Playlist is the best way to track your game collection. Now you can even import your entire Steam library to Playlist, making it easier than ever to review games, show off your collection of the world, and finally chip away at that massive backlog you keep meaning to get to. IGN Playlist, check it out.
Can't find that final collectible you're missing? IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and best of all, free. IGN has the very best, most complete and accurate guides for Shadow of the Erdtree, Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, and so much more.
It's good, right?
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts. Just search for IGN when you search for guides.
This is IGN Fan Fest 2026. Coming up, we're looking at some upcoming games that you might call cozy.
First up, Kilm, Double Fine's upcoming game all about lovingly handcrafted ceramic pots.
That certainly sounds cozy to me.
It is, at least until the lovingly handcrafted ceramic pots start smashing each other.
Well, like I said, you might call these games cozy. Take a look.
Welcome to Kilm, an online multiplayer pottery party brawler from Double Fine Productions. Let's look at Kilm's 4v4 game mode, Quench, in our map, Athena's War Room. In Kilm, you start as a spirit, using a pottery wheel to create your very own pot body. You take that pot and you put it to the test against your enemy's creations. This is a Quench map, meaning that your objective is to put out the enemy kiln before they douse yours. And at the center of this is your custom pot, whose capacity is just one of the stats you'll need to balance with your team to win. Athena's War Room is all about strategy. This map features multiple routes, plenty of nooks and crannies, and space for brawling it out. You'll encounter openings that allow entry based on your pot size and shape. This map has the unique feature of opposing teams being side by side, allowing you to keep a close eye on your kiln, while also keeping note of when the enemy is vulnerable. Balance keeping your kiln safe and going on offense to ensure that your team comes out on top. Water is the main resource in Quench, and on Athena's War Room, you can use it to activate sponges around the battlefield. Sponges are strategy. They create roadblocks when they absorb water. Fill sponges up to block invaders coming in, or if you're feeling evil, activate the enemy's own sponges to keep them out while you douse their kiln. Water on this map is found throughout the layout in blue amphora, but if you want to pull loads of water all at once, make your way all the way across the map to the big blue water jug. Smash it with your team and you'll all have enough water to be ready to quench. Each pot features unique abilities based on shape as well as trade-offs for their health, capacity, and speed. This is just one of the many mythology-inspired maps you can play in Kiln when it launches in spring 2026. Sign up now for a chance to play in our upcoming closed beta in March by joining our Action Insiders community at doublefine.com.
Backyard Baseball is leveling up. The beloved sports franchise from the 90s has announced an all-new game is coming this summer. It's time once again to step up to the plate and experience the backyard magic with familiar faces, exciting new game modes, and lots of surprises. For the first time in 15 years, Backyard Baseball will be available on consoles as well as PC and Mac. PC and Mac users can wishlist the game right now on Steam, and console players should head over to backyardbaseball.com for all future updates. Check out this brand new trailer from Backyard Baseball, and make sure you stick around until the end for a little surprise. Take a look.
Hey everybody, this is Filippo, Creative Director of Cobalt Lane.
In this video, we'd like to show off a few moments of our game Imprinted, an audio-heavy psychological horror game. I've composed many soundtracks over the years, but this is the first game I direct and write entirely. I like to call it a ghost story about creativity. You are playing as Vincent Brand, an audio engineer with a knack for restoring broken recordings. Let's get to work and repair this messed up mix of a song by one of our real-life music collaborators, Molly McFall. We'll use Wavesplice, Vincent's custom software that can recover almost any kind of destroyed audio. Let's analyze this one and have a listen.
Heard there was another world, a place where all is understood.
A bunch of things have gone wrong here. Some parts of the vocals have far too much reverb on them. We can fix that.
Hopped right in that boat was red. The child left me, went back to bed.
The guitars need a cleanup too.
Another world.
Nice. Let's export the results and move on to a far stranger assignment. The mystery surrounding an Italian musician named Viola Fossati. She created a series of unsettling cassette loops back in the late 1970s. Nobody has listened to these tapes in more than 50 years. The more Vince uncovers Viola's recordings, the further he falls into a spiral of dark creativity, loss of control,
And real danger to himself.
Thank you so much for watching. Please support us by wishlisting Imprinted on Steam now.
A thick fog hangs over the island. The air around is heavy and moist, as if you were inhaling water droplets. At night, constant coughing fits make it hard to breathe. I lie there listening to the generator humming quietly downstairs. The radio doesn't work. And the ship won't come. I'm all alone. The thought that because of something so stupid, a lover's spat, one can get in so much trouble, it just... God, it drives me crazy. Stupid Absent-mindedness. Stupid. Not nice. As Will usually says.
I shouldn't have come back. Almost done. Why would anyone hide this down here? What? You will never leave this place. What the fuck? What even is that thing?
Hi everyone, it's Mark from Squareglade Games. Today we wanted to share a little bit about how Outbound grew into what we've started calling a cozy survival game. When we first set out on this journey, we knew we loved road trips, exploration, and those quiet little moments that make a world feel alive. But at the same time, we also knew what we didn't want. A game where survival meant grinding, struggling, or being punished for not keeping up. For us, Outbound was always meant to feel like a safe place, a game that lets you breathe. One where every step of the journey feels rewarding, whether you're upgrading your van, wandering on foot, or just stopping to watch the sunset. That's where the heart of cozy survival comes in. You can forage, gather, and cook at your own pace, discovering new recipes as you go. Outbound is not meant to be a hard survival game, so when you run out of health, you'll faint and simply wake up back in your van. You can upgrade your van to go higher, faster, or carry more. Most importantly, the challenges in Outbound are based on overcoming an obstacle, rather than grinding to progress further. The world is open to you from the start. While there might be some places where you have to put your thinking cap on to figure out the way forward, you can still do it at your own pace. We didn't want players to feel like they're checking off chores or racing against hunger meters. Instead, we wanted every moment to be an invitation to explore at your own pace, in your own way. From the earliest Kickstarter backers to everyone who shared ideas with us, the message has been clear. This game should feel like a road trip you never want to end. Not because it's hard to survive and you must keep going, but because it feels good just to be in it. That's the core of cozy survival for us. A balance between survival and comfort. Between the excitement of the road ahead and the quiet joy of knowing you don't have to rush. We can't wait for you to experience that journey for yourself. Thanks for being with us as we continue building Outbound. See you on the road!
Oh my Lord, take it slow. Maybe at the bottom of the river. The devil has come to carry me home. Lay me at the bottom of the river. From the gallows, shed this news, where I go, lay me in the shallows. Evil come if you call my name, the wicked they shall rise. The river sand's gonna wash me clean, if the river don't run dry. Oh my Lord, take this soul, lay me at the bottom of the river. The devil has come to carry me home. Lay me at the bottom of the river.
Welcome to Hela, a heartwarming, open-world adventure set in a magical world inspired by northern Sweden. You play as a small but agile mouse, helping a kind witch care for the land she's protected for generations. Explore freely, alone or together. Wander across forests, meadows, wetlands and burrows, helping others and finding joy in the small moments along the way. In a world this vast, how you move through it matters, and sometimes a little magic makes all the difference. Before you set out on your journey, the witch grants you a small gift, a froggy backpack holding a touch of her magic. This backpack is the key to exploring further, reaching higher, and interacting with the world in new ways. To move through the forest with ease, you'll need more than tiny paws. With your backpack's frog tongue, you can latch onto branches, beams, and ledges, swinging freely as you build momentum and carry it forward. Up or down, there's rarely just one way forward. You can use the tongue to climb higher, lower yourself carefully, or lend a paw to a friend in need. Sometimes the path reveals itself when you work together. Your tongue isn't just for getting around. It's how you interact with the world. Latch onto objects, pull them closer, drag them into place, or give them a helpful nudge. When you start working together, simple tools become surprisingly powerful. By linking yourself to another player or a shade, you can turn your tongue into a bridge. Walk across it, bounce along it, or use it to carry something safely to the other side. Some forest creatures may choose to help you along the way, sharing their speed and strength, carrying you further than tiny paws ever could. Use your lasso, hold on tight, and enjoy the ride. Your backpack can inflate, letting you glide through the air like a paraglider. Take in the views and master the skill to maneuver mid-air and reach exactly where you want to go. You can also inflate your backpack on the ground to create a bouncing platform, perfect for reaching new heights. Friends of the Forest can also teach you new abilities, helping you explore and open paths that were once closed. Learn from them to unlock new abilities, like double jump. Thanks to a backpack, you can also plunge to the ground with great force. Plunging is great for accessing hidden areas, bouncing even higher off trampolines, or simply causing a delightful bit of chaos. Along your journey, you'll gather all sorts of useful things, ingredients, tools, and curious little finds. Your froggy backpack keeps them safe until you're ready to use them back at the witch's cottage. Nothing goes to waste. Thanks to a backpack's magic, you can create shades when playing solo or with fewer than 4 players. You can create a shade while performing different actions, holding an object with the lasso, forming a bridge, or even gliding through the air. Once created, a shade continues the action you started. Whether you're playing alone or with friends, you can always fill out the team to up to 4 mice total. Your frog backpack is your constant companion, opening up playful and surprising ways to explore the world of Hela. Whether you travel alone or alongside friends, the adventure is yours to shape.
You are participating in the Imagine Games Network's fanciful festivities of 2026, or IGN Fan Fest 2026 for short. Speaking of short, it's time we took a short break. Stick around.
IGN Fan Fest is presented by HyperX and Neverness to Everness.
Hey you! Looking for a way to wear your fandom with pride? The IGN Store is the ultimate destination for awesome merch and collectibles from the biggest games, movies, shows, and everything in between. Cruise the wasteland in style with a Vault Dweller hoodie and replica Pip-Boy. Whatever you're into, you're bound to find something. See for yourself and head to store.ign.com today. IGN Playlist is the best way to track your game collection. Now you can even import your entire Steam library to Playlist, making it easier than ever to review games, show off your collection of the world, and finally chip away at that massive backlog you keep meaning to get to. IGN Playlist, check it out.
Catch up on all your favorite shows with up-to-the-minute gaming and entertainment news with Geek Media Podcasts.
Welcome to a very special episode of IGN Game Scoop.
Game Scoop has you covered for all things gaming and the latest game releases. Tune into Podcast Beyond for the biggest PlayStation news.
Man, this is a cool looking trailer.
Everything Xbox on Podcasts Unlocked.
This is Steve Downes, the voice of Master Chief.
Catch up with your Super Nintendos on Nintendo Voice Chat.
Switch to pre-order Mania. It was chaotic last night.
And get all the latest console news and rumors with Next Gen Console Watch.
Now Xbox and Phil Spencer are even saying that a mid-gen refresh isn't even necessary.
The Cinefix Top 100 podcast picks a movie every week to celebrate and debate.
It's kind of every movie's grandpa.
Geek Media Podcasts, the best podcasts from around the world.
The Cinefix Top 100. A list so secretive even we don't know what movies are on it or where they rank.
What do you mean you don't know?
Each episode will reveal one of the movies.
Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed. That was good. I liked it.
Talk about why it belongs and finally find out where it ranks.
Are you not entertained?
Are any of the movies we've shown here even on the list? I have no idea, and it drives me crazy. Join us as we find out on Cinefix, IGN, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Why so serious?
Can I help you?
That means I'm next. When you die, I'm next.
What makes you think I'm gonna die?
Oh, please. We've all seen you play games. It's about to be our turn real soon.
Okay, I actually did die. Like, for real.
Knew it.
Well, the people are watching. Care to comment on your inability to play games?
What is this?
We're calling you out. Cage match, 2v1, right here.
That seems very unsafe and violent for me specifically, and very unrelated.
Well, you want to know what is related? Well, listen to this. Action games and movies, blowing things up, kicking ass, and riding off into the sunset with a sweet new ride. Check these out.
Denshattack!
jumping.
The hand of God rests upon your skull. You fulfill a divine purpose. One that your keepers could not even begin to fathom. Melt away the wax you cling to, brother.
Hello everyone, welcome. I'm Kacper from Artificer and we're making Minos. I'm recording this because Danny from Devolver told me to. He said that you said that the game looks cool, but seems a bit complex. So, Minos goes like this. There is a Minotaur in a maze. That's you. Heroes and adventurers come from across the land to slay the famous monster, for glory and gold and fame and stuff. And you design a maze. And you put in traps, so that the traps, the maze and the Minotaur eliminate everyone. No survivors allowed. So here's how this works. From the get-go, you'll see a preview of where your labyrinth leads the enemies. You shape the labyrinth in any way you like, straight up, or long and windy, or anything in between. You can set a sequence of traps, matching the order of incoming enemies. You can split the enemy groups down separate paths. You can use traps that affect the whole groups of enemies. You can link traps with pressure plates, so that the right trap hits the right dude, or a mix of all the above. And if all else fails, you can send the Minotaur to fight. All that being said, it's better to eliminate enemies using traps. This way, you gather more blood, which you offer to Labyrinthos, and it will reward you with even more traps. Minos is a roguelite game.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
This means defeat isn't the end. You'll keep your progress and upgrades, but you'll also get a fresh start on your toolset of traps and artifacts to discover new playstyles, synergies and combos. And if you look closely, you'll also discover secrets, hidden trap combinations, secret levels, secret puzzles, secret keys that open secret doors leading to secret corners of this underground world. So, this should give you a clear overview. I hope Danny likes it, and I hope you like it too. Now, please go and check out the Minos demo. I honestly think it's the best game I've ever worked on. So, thank you. Bye!
Howard Thornfield. You keep showing up like a bad habit. Look at you, still walking, still breathing, still trying to matter. These fragments you cling to, they aren't saving you. Every choice is a betrayal of another part of yourself. Tell me, Howard, how does it feel to be your own civil war?
Wake up.
You let that rose whisper poison in your ear, pretending it's hope. Don't lie to yourself. You knew how this ended before it began.
Wake up.
And those little toys of yours? Click, clack. Praying for a 6 in a city built on zeros.
Wake up, Howard!
You aren't a savior. You're just spare parts walking in a trench coat. Let's give your failure a proper name. Let's call it your celestial return.
Stay the line, boys! Man down!
The latest NTE beta is out, courtesy of the team at Hoda Studio and Perfect World Games. If you're looking to fight some anomalies and discover the magic of living in Hethro, we've got you covered. Here's everything you need to know for the upcoming release on April 29th. Presented by NTE. Pre-registration is available now on NTE's official website, PlayStation, the App Store, and Google Play. In NTE, you play as an anomaly hunter, tasked with finding, fighting, and containing dangerous anomalies that threaten everyday life. The official release features over 40 anomalies of various difficulty levels, with special combat animations and even gameplay interactions during boss fights. Each character is unique and has its own set of traits and abilities you can chain together to create spectacular combos that deal massive damage. The official release features refined combat and improved feedback compared to previous tests, especially during parries, Esper cycles, and dodging. In between missions, you can explore Hethro and make the most of city living. Into vehicles? Race. Build a collection of cars. Customize said cars. Work as a taxi driver. Deliver packages. But maybe you prefer the management life. Run your own cafe business in Hethro with a fully fledged management sim. Or if you prefer to take things slow, why not unwind with some mahjong or fishing? The choice is yours. If you're trying to test your luck, you can also borrow cars by force. But be careful, that might trigger the crime mechanic, a multi-level wanted system where the city's law enforcement comes after you. And thanks to the more realistic vehicle destruction, tires can be shot out, glass can break, and vehicles can even explode. The consequences escalate based on your actions, and you might even get sent to a detention center if you're not careful. If you do find yourself behind bars, you can work your way out, pay a fine, or try your luck at a breakout to get your freedom back. Now you're ready to jump into Hethro and begin your anomaly hunting adventures. NTE will officially release on April 29th on PC, PlayStation, the App Store, and Google Play. What anomaly are you taking on first? Let us know in the comments, and for everything else, keep it here on IGN.
This is FanFest 2026 right here on IGN. Coming up shortly, we've got a couple games that should strike a chord with music fans. There's Annapurna's coming-of-age narrative adventure mixtape, as well as a look at a brand new project from the creators of the original Guitar Hero.
But first, by the power of Grayskull, I have a new trailer for you to watch. Take a look.
Never
What are we doing?
Hanging out, getting buzzed.
I've got to get out of this place.
My mom took me to this beach shack a couple of years ago. There was no TV and only books about nature and stuff. I read a book about this most excellent lady called Jennifer Owen.
Owen? I barely know it.
My head's a tumble dryer.
Yup, I'm wasted. Anyway, this scientist, she discovered all these insects and stuff by studying her own little garden. Didn't need to go to the jungle or anything.
What's your point?
Small spaces, when carefully observed, can reveal wonders.
Whoa.
The wizards live in my brain, man. I don't need to go searching for them.
Slater?
Cha?
Go rent us some movies.
3 movies. 1 new release, 2 weeklies.
God damn it, I can try. I may have gone too far in a few places. We gotta walk back, cause I ain't driving.
You need help there, buddy?
No, just testing the integrity of your video catalog. I'm a professional.
Whatever.
Tapes seem to be fleeing the scene. Whoa. Yeah, Steve don't work here. I've heard good things. I'd watch that. Oh God, it's brighter than the surface of the sun. I'm suddenly very aware, yet also disconnected from the reality of the video store. I need a good, oh, this section. This is what I'm talking about.
Everyone's watching you, Slater.
Ooh, that's a good one. Oh, never mind. That was a stupid movie, dude.
Not the cutouts. I was gonna put that in my Fraser Bay loft apartment. Oh, come on, man.
Yeah, I didn't even like those movies. I don't even need those. Okay, I got 3. Just gotta make it to the counter. When it was the 30s, what were those movies?
Ryan is always seeking to elevate the people around him as a person, as a performer, and so it really works when your scene partner is a cute little rock.
Project Hail Mary is a space epic about a teacher and a rock who are teaming up to save the universe from a terrible death, and here to talk to me are the directors of the movie, Chris Miller, Phil Lord.
How are you?
I'm very well. At what point during your first reading of the book did you sort of decide, you know what, I think that I need to make this as a film?
Well, we got the manuscript in about, I think it was March 2020.
And we got it at about 6 p.m.
That's right.
So I would say I knew we were going to make it at about 1:30 in the morning.
Oh, good. You have the exact time.
I know exactly. Yeah, I wrote it in my journal.
Yes, yeah. You memento.
True. It did memento on my arm. I'm very forgetful.
Couldn't put it down, stayed up till 4 finishing it. It was one of those things where had to find out what was happening, and there's several twists in the end that I didn't see coming, and that sort of was like a thing. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe I was surprised by this. And it was emotional, it was funny, it was dramatic, it was everything. It felt like something that would be really hard to make, and so it was perfect for us.
Yeah. I know I read your guys' Reddit AMA, and I know that we share in common the fact that the ending of the book just made me burst into tears.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm very excited to see how you guys handle that in the film. I want to talk about the fact that this movie, at its heart, is a buddy comedy, and I have to imagine that this must have been comfortable space for you guys just so I explore.
They say a director only really makes one movie like 10 to 15 times, and ours seems to be a buddy comedy.
What was appealing specifically, though, about the relationship between Grace and Rocky in that context?
I mean, it's such an unusual partnership. It's two beings working together with the stakes being absolutely huge, right? It's not just like hanging out and being pals. It's worlds are at stake, and they come from such different backgrounds and such different cultures and such different everything, and they have to find a way to work together. And that was what's really exciting about it.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that's amazing about the book that I find so inspiring is it asks the question, can adult men make friends if the universe depends on it?
It's not
clear. So,
it's not a given.
And the thing that I love about watching these two people connect is the stakes could not be higher, and the barriers between them could not be greater. And so the movie is about watching people accommodate one another in service of this great big task. And so one of the things I love about the movie is like you get to hear the world from Rocky's point of view. And one of the scenes that I love is that Ryan figuring out that the way he perceives the world is not the way Rocky perceives the world. And he has to make an accommodation to Rocky to figure that out. And Rocky's making all kinds of accommodations for Grace. He we'll compromise on the gravity. We can do your gravity, and I'll work with it.
This is your first time, I believe, working with Ryan Gosling. How long has he been on your radar to collaborate with?
You know, we met him many years ago, over a decade ago, and have been wanting to work together on something for a long time. Huge fan of his. Every time he does something, you're like, I can't believe he can do that too. Yeah. He can do everything. It's really, I can't imagine anybody else being able to do this part, because it takes so much like drama, emotion, heart, humor, and he can do it all.
And one of my favorite performances of his is in Nice Guys.
Here we go.
Where he's just like bringing it,
right,
and has so many different moves, and he's sticking his neck out for that movie over and over again. And we're so lucky to have him because he did the same thing for this picture.
I think there's such an interesting through line there from Jump Street, which I believe, aside from really announcing you two as like these comedy gods in the film space, and I'm allowed to say that because it's my opinion.
Comedy gods are the worst gods.
Demigods.
Everything they do is just for their own enjoyment and laughter. They're not helping anybody.
You though, we're believers.
What about medicine, Phil?
Exactly. Yeah.
Sure.
I think that was Gandhi.
Wouldn't it be funny if we mess with Job? Like, zing. Anyway, you're going to use that.
Yeah, absolutely. This is all...
You're going to
It's all in. It all stays in. No, but what I did with the point that I'm trying to make, though, is that I see a really interesting through line. The other amazing contribution that movie made was announcing Channing Tatum as this comedy savant. And he is so excellent in that space. And Nice Guys, Knife Guys as well, if we want to go right down to it, both did the same for Gosling. I want to know what was appealing to you about sort of marshaling this expectation of those two actors to very surprising ends.
I mean, the funny thing is you meet those people, you meet Channing, you meet Ryan, and your expectation is that they're going to thrive because they're playful, they're funny, and their posture as performers, both of those people, is to be generous to the other characters in the scene. The joke of Channing is that he's this tall, handsome person, and he plays the low man in the scene. And he's in a scene with Jonah, who always seeks the high ground. And so it becomes like an amazing duo. The thing about Ryan is he is always seeking to elevate the people around him as a person, as a performer. And so it really works when your scene partner is a cute little rock, that he confers status always onto Rocky by like elevating him to a peer.
Well, something about Rocky in that context that I'm very excited to talk to you about. I'll be honest, when I saw the trailer for this movie, I thought Rocky was completely CG. And when I learned that it was a puppet, and not because I was looking at it expecting CG, I think I'm just trained to imagine like, oh, such a difficult creature, it must be. But you actually brought this to life with Neil Scanlon, who's obviously a legend. Talk about collaborating with him on this.
We had worked with him before and had an amazing experience. He and his whole team are geniuses. And so when it came time to design Rocky and build the creature that we wanted to have on set, he was the only person we really wanted to talk to. And we spent a long time working with him, building a puppet that could be really there on set so that Ryan could have someone to perform with, a scene partner that was really there, so he wasn't just talking to a tennis ball the whole time. And we got James Ortiz, an amazing lead puppeteer who really embodied the spirit of Rocky and was the great scene partner for Ryan to have. At the end of the day, it ended up being a marriage between puppetry and animation, and that was seamless. But the fact that it was always there and the fact that so much of it comes from this team of puppeteers is what makes you believe that it's really there.
I'm very fascinated by the process of adaptation, and I'm curious to know, in comparison to something like the Spider-Verse films, which are sort of more of a pastiche of different dynamics and storylines from the comics, this is a very direct adaptation of the novel. How are those processes different for you?
We've adapted a bunch of things in our career, and the key to it for us is to capture the spirit of the thing that we love and not be dogmatic about how we convey that. This is the movie where we were probably the most dogmatic because we wanted to always honor the scientific problems that Andy created and never take shortcuts. Though we wanted the book to make our lives really hard. And we wanted the problems that Ryan had to solve to be genuine.
Hiring Drew Goddard was a really important part of that. He did such an amazing job with The Martian. He's been a longtime friend of ours, and it was a thing where like, we'll wait for you because we need you to help figure out how to take this book, which has a lot in it, and bring it into the size of a movie and shape of a movie. And he did an amazing job.
But like part of it is like on Spider-Verse, we take the origin stories and the things that have been written in the comics to sort of be gospel. Then we do all kinds of things like naughty stuff that you're not supposed to do. But we go to the effort to like, this character's been in 3 issues or 15 pages of a comic, and we call the creator and go like, where does she live? What would she look like? What would she think about this? We want to honor that stuff. So it's great preparation for this, where we want to honor what Andy did and then be playful with it.
And having Andy as a producer on the movie and being around, we were constantly texting and calling him going like, okay, the atmosphere of Adrian, if the ship was in the atmosphere, what exactly would happen? What would it look like? And what color would it be?
Yeah.
And he was always able to have a smart scientific answer or a creative answer if there wasn't one.
Or what do Rocky's internal organs look like? How do they operate? How do his pneumatics work? And he has those details. He writes as though Rocky is real, that astrophagia is a real thing, that tell me about real stuff. So that helps the reader believe it. And like, if we act as if those things are all exactly true, then it helps the audience believe it.
Kind of jumping off of that a little bit, obviously when we're doing a film adaptation of a book, you have to you have to make these things real. And one of the things that I was so curious to see how you guys handled is Iridian engineering and physiology, certainly.
Yes.
What were some of your inspirations for realizing that on a screen, like the Blip A, for instance?
Right. So we had Charlie Wood, who was our production designer, and he had an amazing team of art directors and artists that we really wanted to do something that felt like it made logical sense, but it wasn't something you'd ever seen before. And it's always hard in this space to create a look that doesn't feel like it's familiar or like it's a ripoff of something. So we went through a lot of different rounds and found an aesthetic that felt like this is the way that Rocky works. It's a lot of angles, right angles in space. Corners in space is really hard to do.
But not if you're working with Xenonine.
Yes.
So it came as an outgrowth of like, tell me about this material, Andy. Oh, it's so strong that you can have corners in space. Got it. Yeah, and then thinking about how would an animal make something? Just culturally, like, what does their pottery look like? You would think aesthetically they would gravitate towards these forms that are kind of organic, right? So that's how we arrived at this thing that sort of looks like a space nest.
Right. And it's a 5-legged creature, so there's a lot of pentagonal and hexagonal shapes in it and all that type of stuff. There's a lot of discussion about it. There's so much more thought that goes into it than you might imagine. Every little detail, every little prop.
You nailed something that feels true to the book, even just from seeing the trailer.
Oh, great.
So excited to see that. Something that comes to mind for me as a lover of science fiction, when I hear the catalyst of a plot for a space movie being our sun is dying, a movie that really comes to mind for me is Sunshine.
Of course.
Yeah.
Was that, I have to imagine that was on your mind in terms of not only just looking at the strengths of that movie, but also finding things to avoid.
I watched that movie a long time ago, and then probably in preparation for this, but we try to get that stuff out of the way really early so that you're not thinking about it too deeply while you're really making it, so that you just go like, okay, I see what those moves are. Those are moves, like, I don't want to repeat anyone else's moves. I want the movie to feel really original. So hat tip, like, that's a beautiful, thank you for the inspiration. Now we need to like make something that's our own.
And it goes in a different direction.
You're trying not to like, sometimes in pre-production, like we looked at like Alien for its photography, it's really special. But like, we try not to reference stuff once we're really making the thing.
Yeah. Well, Project Hail Mary is such a unique and heartfelt story. We're so excited to see it. That is my time with you guys. Thank you so much for talking.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your very cheerful shirt.
Oh, thank you very much. I stole it off somebody on the street. Sorry to them. Project Hail Mary comes out on March 20th. Do not miss it. And also do not miss the rest of FanFest. There's plenty more coming up.
IGN Fan Fest is presented by Neverness to Everness and HyperX.
Hey you! Looking for a way to wear your fandom with pride? The IGN Store is the ultimate destination for awesome merch and collectibles from the biggest games, movies, shows, and everything in between. Cruise the wasteland in style with a Vault Dweller hoodie and replica Pip-Boy. Whatever you're into, you're bound to find something. See for yourself and head to store.ign.com today.
Catch up on all your favorite shows with up-to-the-minute gaming and entertainment news with Geek Media Podcasts.
Welcome to a very special episode of IGN Game Scoop.
Game Scoop has you covered for all things gaming and the latest game releases. Tune into Podcast Beyond for the biggest PlayStation news.
Man, this is a cool looking trailer.
Everything Xbox on Podcasts Unlocked.
This is Steve Downs, the voice of Master Chief.
Catch up with your Super Nintendos on Nintendo Voice Chat.
Switched to pre-order Mania. It was chaotic last night.
And get all the latest console news and rumors with Next Gen Console Watch.
Now Xbox and Phil Spencer are even saying that a mid-gen refresh isn't even necessary.
The Cinefix Top 100 podcast picks a movie every week to celebrate and debate.
It's kind of every movie's grandpa.
Geek Media Podcasts, the best podcasts from around the world.
The Cinefix Top 100. A list so secretive even we don't know what movies are on it or where they rank.
What do you mean you don't know?
Each episode will reveal one of the movies.
Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed. That was good. I liked it.
Talk about why it belongs and finally find out where it ranks.
Are you not entertained?
Are any of the movies we've shown here even on the list? I have no idea, and it drives me crazy. Join us as we find out on Cinefix, IGN, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Why so serious?
Hello, IGN Fan Fest. We're the Napa Boys. And we couldn't be more excited to debut this exclusive clip from our film, The Napa Boys, exclusively with you tonight. In the clip, the titular Napa Boys, Jack Jr., Miles Jr., encounter Officer Roland and Officer Toland. Armed only with the Somalia's amulet, we discover someone has defaced Mitch's winery. It's all very funny. In fact, our characters have been likened to JD and Turk. Our rapport and our banter is very similar to JD and Turk's for all of those scrub heads out there. We think that you're gonna love it. So without further ado, take it away.
Now, if I was a moose, I'd go up the creek and use my horns to sip the Merlot.
You two always did love Merlot.
Ah.
I wonder why you became cops.
And don't forget the donuts.
Yeah, you got it.
I love the donuts.
If you were a moose and your antlers got the Merlot, it would spill on your fur.
Let me tell you something. I don't like you Napa boys, okay?
Guys, look. The Somalia's amulets never glowed like this before. We have to go back to the cave.
Some say the devil comes for your highest moment. Well, I say, not this day.
Napa calls. John, we'll be back. Mitch's assistant, go fill out the rest of that paperwork, baby.
Thank you, guys.
You know, there's something about those Napa boys that I like.
This would be such a great mix of like The Sims and GoldenEye because you have to like build a life. You know what I mean?
What's up, IGN Fan Fest? I'm Michael here with Simu Liu, Melissa Barrera, and the fight coordination team from the Peacock original series, The Copenhagen Test. I want to dive into the stunts on the show, all the amazing stunt work that y'all and the team did. I'll start with Chris. I want to talk specifically about the big kind of library fight scene in episode 2. Looks like there are a lot of moving pieces there. You have Simu, you have Melissa, you have other characters basically brawling throughout this store. Tell me a little bit about everything that went into that. Was it on location? Was it a set? Was it a combination? Tell me about how y'all choreographed and built that scene out.
Yeah, so the library scene was a pretty big scene. It was also the first big fight in the series. So there's a lot of work put into it, especially like you said, there's a lot of moving parts. There's Remy's characters fighting. There's a little bit of a cat and mouse with these agents coming after Simu, coming after Melissa. And what helped us a lot is we first built what we call Box City, where we take cardboard boxes and we essentially create the space at our training facility. And then we're able to kind of choreograph and map out positions there. There's always changes that happen as it goes. We do the fine changes. And even when we work with the cast, like we work with Simu and Melissa, we'll also change things based on what feels good. Or, you know, Simu has a lot of experience doing fight choreography, so he'll give his opinion as well. And we'll just kind of work together and create the best product we can. Yeah.
Simu, Melissa, I really liked the part of that scene where y'all are like back to back, like fighting off the bad guys. That must have been a really cool scene to film.
I was very nervous about that one because it was the first fight scene. And it was like, I had spent a lot of time at the training facility with them, a lot of extra time, more than Simu, because I was like, I need to look good. I'm supposed to be the one that's the expert. It was really cool because it was the first time that you get to see them both in action on the same team. And it was, you know, very metaphorical, like a physical metaphor of them being like back to back, like I got your back. And you think that that's the way that the show is going to go, right? Like they have each other's back and they're going to be a team. So it was cool.
If I could just speak to Melissa's prep for a second, I mean, she worked so hard. It's a stunt coordinator's dream when an actor is actually ready, willing, you know, and just down to use the resources that are available, because not all actors do. You know, a lot of actors get really fussy about it, but just to be like, oh yeah, let's do it, let's work on it. You know, that's such a, it's I think the most malleable energy and the best and the most collaborative energy.
Yeah, no, just like especially even on Melissa's days off, she's constantly asking to come in and train. And one of the things I noticed is when we were teaching her the fight choreography, you know, we would show her the moves and stuff, but she wanted to know how to do them like for real. Like, what's the practicality? Like, let's break this down, like technique, and make it perfection essentially. So her work ethic was incredible. Like it's like Simu said, it's very rare to see in a lot of actors.
With a story like this, it has to be grounded in realism, right? And I feel like that very much translates into the stunts and fight scenes of this show, where it's like, okay, these are, you know, spies or people that are, you know, undercover, what have you, but like, you know, Melissa gets knives out here, and like it's some gritty realism, and that has to be a cool kind of element to bring to this.
You know, the biggest thing, I think the biggest focal point with the conversations we were having, and with Chris and with Simu as well when we were discussing style, is, you know, everything has to be hard hitting, and everything has to land, and everything has to look real. And, you know, I think we definitely accomplished that. And to Simu's point as well, like having someone like Melissa and having, you know, Simu as well, who are game and who are willing to do as much as they can themselves. So we definitely tried to keep it as grounded and realistic as possible, but we still wanted to have some elements that were, you know, a little flashy to, you know, to entice the viewer too.
Speaking of like kind of the amalgamation of all that, I want to speak to the epic fight scene between Melissa and Simu in episode 7 in the apartment. Epic fight, epic needle drop. You know, I'll go back. I want to ask you all about this scene. I'll go back to Chris to start. Tell me about, like, I mean, it's not the finale, but it's deep into the season, and it's like all these kind of stories and all these moments are coming to a head in this one-on-one kind of battle royale. Tell me about putting that together.
You know, it really had to do justice because of their relationship between the two characters and how it's built up to this point. Keeping that in mind, choreographing a fight that, you know, had both of their styles and also both their objectives with the relationship between each other, but also making it, you know, really realistic. The way it really came to life is how the actors put their performance, their acting, and their chemistry between each other. Because if you watch them fight in that scene, like, the chemistry is unreal. And they're fighting each other like 95% of the time in that scene. So they did an amazing job. It was so real. It was scary for me at times how hard they were going at each other, because you don't usually see actors go that hard.
A lot of times when I'm doing like a difficult move, they will not have Simu there in case like I do something wrong, because I'm an actor, I'm not the pro, right? And they'll have Simu stunt double to protect Simu because he needs to be on camera, and vice versa. When Simu needs to do like something really hard, they'll put my stunt double in. But Simu and I were like, no, let us do it. It's supposed to be that, right? And the acting and like the storytelling that goes beyond the physical fight is really cool to be able to do together. And so they trusted. That's why I wanted to train so much, because I didn't want to punch Simu accidentally. I just wanted to like drill it so that we could do it together. And that was like the fun part of that day, because we actually got to be in it together for, like Chris says, like 95% of the time. They didn't let me do like a fall. And I was like, I can do the fall. And they were like, no, you're not going to do the fall. And then Simu ended up getting kicked in the face. Not by me.
Yeah, the one part, yeah,
like,
that you weren't in.
I would have kicked him.
Yeah.
Accidentally, obviously. All accidentally. But, you know.
Yeah, the reason why we work so hard, I feel like, I mean, at the end of the day, we really wanted to give the editors and our directors as much space to free flow as possible, because what you do inevitably when you have a stunt double come in, it's like, okay, then you lock off an angle, because you can't, the moment that they swing around, it's like, oh, this shot dies, because then you see that it's not the person. And the moment that illusion, the moment the audience kind of feels it, then you can't, I mean, that's when basically the editor's hands are tied. And so just having the luxury of more angles, more optionality, that's the reason why we do what we do. It's not just ego, right? It's like, oh yeah, if we do this, we all think it's a better product.
You're no stranger to on-scene fights. But this is kind of like a brutalist, kind of like very like realistic, I guess, type fight.
Yeah.
You to the point where we actually see you grab like a tile or a brick off the side of the wall and smash Melissa upside the back of the head with it and knock her out. I mean, I assume that a lot of your kind of previous experience fed into this, but but also that it was new for you on screen as well.
For Shang-Chi, the action language is very different. It's very kind of wuxia and wushu inspired. So there's a lot of flourishes. There's a lot of very, very stylized movements and parries that you wouldn't see in a street fight. Whereas, I feel like Alexander's world and the world of spies and the orphanage and Michelle, it's like, it's very much rooted in military tactics. And I think that's where we started with Chris and James giving us kind of a palette of like, okay, here are all of these moves that we're thinking. And, as time went on, it was great for us to like feel what was working too. We were really leaning into elbows and knees and like using the environment, things that if you were in a street fight and you happen to not have any superpowers or didn't know Kung Fu, this is what you would do. Even getting to a point where we were like, we used to have these like kicks. I think we had like a side kick at one point, and then we were like, I think that's too Kung Fu. I don't think anybody who was in the military would do that. I think they would I think you would front kick, or I think you would knee.
When watching this show, I mean, it's really cool because it's so unique, but it also, I feel like it borrows from some of the most successful stories in the genre in kind of the best way. One of the things that kind of reminded me at times of was a video game. Like the characters are going on kind of these stealth missions. There's cloak and dagger, but there's action and things like that. Did you get that sense at all when y'all were making it, that it was kind of like, you see all these cool games out there that people are playing, and this is kind of that world a little bit as well?
I mean, I think it would make a great game. Do you remember GoldenEye? I used to love playing GoldenEye. And it was all POV. It was like the gun right there, So definitely I can see why. I actually had not thought about that at all. But now that you mentioned that, it totally, and it would make for it would be like such a thrilling, like anxiety-inducing game. Can you imagine?
Yeah, I don't know. Have you ever played or have you heard of like Splinter Cell or like Splinter Cell? Although he's always like kind of dressed up in it. He's not really covert, but you are supposed to be sneaking around. And then the other one that it really reminds me of is Hitman. Because every mission, I mean, not that I'm trying to kill everyone every mission, but it's like the whole thing is to avoid detection. And so there's like when I was playing the game, there was like a detectometer. And you would like walk around and you would have to just blend in with people and not arouse suspicion, and then just like sneak off at the perfect point where nobody was watching.
Dude,
I bet there are better comps out there, but those are just the two that
this would be such a great mix of like The Sims and GoldenEye, because you have to like build a life. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
you have to build a double life.
You have to like build this
saying.
like fake life and like go about and like do like normal things, and then you go on the missions and you're like badass. I'm gonna pitch that to Universal. Maybe they should.
I was gonna say you should trademark that, Melissa.
Yeah.
Because I think that sounds like an awesome idea. Out of all of the entire season, specifically fight, stunt, action, choreography wise, is there one particular moment for each one of you that you are most proud of?
Honestly, I think the apartment fight, what we're talking about, is for me the scene I'm most proud of, just because of all the time that went into it, and it was at the end of the season. So Melissa and Simu did a bunch of fights before that, and Melissa being newer to fights, like she trained so hard leading up to that fight, and it was kind of like the payoff I felt for her and her character to see like how far she's come. And then when I saw on screen, I was like, hell yeah, those guys brought it. So
Melissa, is it the same for you or is it different?
Definitely. When we got that script, I got so excited. I immediately was like, oh, this is Mr. and Mrs. Smith vibes. Love that movie. This is like sexy as hell, but also like exciting and like scary. Sometimes you read a fight and you envision it. And then when you get to actually shooting it, especially on a TV show, they want to shorten it. I was like, this has to last. It has to feel like a proper like length fight. It can't just be like a second. And we would go in and then, you know, Chris would be like, well, they cut it from this. And I was like, no, let's learn it. And then I'll pitch it and we'll be so good that they'll have to shoot it. And so I was just kind of fighting for, I pitched a whole episode a la John Wick of that apartment fight. I was like, that would have been an amazing standalone episode of just fighting the entire episode. But anyway, maybe season 2.
Simu, what about you? Any one particular stunt or action scene that you were proud of from the entire season?
Just in the interest of saying something different, I'll say that entire final sequence in the restaurant was such a beast because it had so many moving parts and so many people and you know, obviously introducing bullets and guns. And so, you know, like that Melissa, I feel like that was like your episode long fight scene where people come in and then, you know, you see Melissa, you know, cranking out like an M16, which is hilarious, amazing and so badass. And then, you know, so then that happens and then more people come and it's like, it's very much like kind of a long kind of drawn out fight that rips the place to shreds. And then, you know, by the time I'm come in, like they've already been, you know, at it for a long time, but then we kind of are able, you know, first of all, we're fighting together again, which is great. But yeah, I mean, the days, I think it took more than a day to kind of fully cover that whole thing and just those moving parts, you know, having so many of them. Yeah, it's really testament to just how, you know, how great Chris and James were at their jobs and just like getting us through. I don't think we went over. I think we made our days. I think we managed to get it all, and it was like really pretty well done.
Yeah, I was also gonna say the finale, for a few different reasons. Like Melissa was saying, like there's always time constraints, especially with television, and as the season goes on, they will try and reduce, you know, action days usually get cut first. It was kind of the opposite in this case. They started adding action days each block, which doesn't normally happen. I think that's just a testament to how hard these guys were working and how much time they put into it and how much better they were getting as the season was going on. Because by the time we got to the finale sequence, we got more time than any of the other fight scenes and a lot more second unit days. And it was a difficult sequence and complex for both of them. Melissa had to do a ton in that. She was there, I think, almost every day for that sequence. And it's exhausting. It's not easy. You know, as much as you practice it and you train it, it's physically and mentally draining. And I think we were doing it at night as well, you know, so you're on overnights. You know, it's a great product. Like they really brought it. They put in the work, and I'm really proud of that scene and what the team accomplished.
Shout out to Alex.
I wasn't gonna mention that.
You just know. You just know. Shout out to Alex. Love you, Alex.
Well, that's all the time we have. Stick around for more IGN Fan Fest.
IGN Fan Fest is presented by HyperX and Neverness to Everness.
The average Cinefix movie list features nearly 100 different films and approximately 25 minutes worth of wall-to-wall deep dive analysis. To simulate that pace for this 30-second ad, we're featuring 26 different films, and before you say it, no, that math does not check out. We're not math people, we're movie people. We can't even count down from 10 without ending up at, like, 96. Subscribe to IGN Movies and TV for more Cinefix movie lists. Bad at math, great at movies.
Can't find that final collectible you're missing? IGN strategy guides and interactive maps are here to help.
One step at a time.
IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and best of all, free. IGN has the very best, most complete and accurate guides for Shadow of the Erdtree, Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, and so much more.
See? It's good, right?
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts. Just search for IGN when you search for guides.
IGN Plus is where your adventure begins.
What are you selling?
Plus is the place to get unlimited access to all the tools you need to beat your games.
Here's what you need to know for bringing down Gloomspawn.
Plus, awesome exclusive discounts on IGN Store.
Maybe this would tease open your money pouch.
Plus, ad-free browsing on IGN.com. Plus, unlimited game help tools like premium interactive maps with your own custom map markers, filters, marker notes, and more.
This will come in handy.
Plus, access to sweepstakes, giveaways, and free game keys.
Wow! Exactly.
Want more? Head to IGN.com/plus and start your adventure today.
We have to fix it. Oh, fuck.
Where's the injured party?
Please, get away from me. Please, get away from me. Please.
Whoa. Where are you
going?
Go this way.
Fuck. No, don't touch me. Don't touch me.
No, this
please.
way.
No, this isn't real. This isn't real. Please.
Hey, it's snowing.
Honey, I don't think that's snow.
What's wrong with her?
Nothing's wrong with me.
Oh, well.
Something to do with Wi-Fi.
This is a cage. You're living in a cage.
Thank you for your service.
I think I have the funniest joke in Scrubs history.
Oh my God.
As an EP.
And
it was
worked,
fantastic.
and it was a great joke. And he was like, "EP-ing done."
Right, I'm done. I fulfilled my quota for the year.
Yeah, next year we'll get
Next
two
year
jokes.
we'll get two in, right?
Yeah. I just got my test results back, and Scrubs is back. So excited to be talking today to Zach Braff, Donald Faison, and Sarah Chalk. Thank you so much for speaking with us today.
How long have you had Scrubs for?
Basically, what is it, 24 years
Yeah,
now?
about that. Well, it's livable. It's
Yes,
livable. You can live with it.
We'll live with it. It'll be fine. I'd like to talk to you first about what the first day on set was like. Could you maybe take me into that a little bit?
It was nerve-wracking. There were so many new faces, and we reconstructed, we used to shoot Scrubs in an abandoned hospital, and we built 30,000 square feet of what the old hospital was on stage. And it took a lot of time, but it was meticulously done, and there were so many new faces, and it was an all new crew, and every day of Scrubs there's 60 background or so because of the hospital aspect of it. I was directing. It was daunting, and most importantly, we wanted to get the tone right, because anyone who loves Scrubs knows that the tone is very specific. And if you look at the course of the 8 or 9 years that it went on, that tone kind of was all over the place a bit and got broader and broader. And Bill Lawrence, the creator of the show, and I, and others, Asim Batra and Tim Obert, who wrote the first episode, really wanted to ground the whole thing back to where we all began in season 1 of the OG. We'd still have our crazy fantasies, and we still have drama and comedy, but let's have it's all play real. So I sort of felt like the keeper of the tone, because I really knew what I wanted it to be, and not just for directing these guys, but for directing myself, going, let's just always default to real. Always default to playing, what would you really do in this situation?
Zach and I shot a day before everyone else did. So we shot the roof scene at the end of the pilot episode. That was on a Friday, and we weren't scheduled to start shooting until Monday. And I just remember when we were on the roof and we finished the scene, I was like, if that's the tone of the show, I think we're in really good shape, because it was cute, but it was still something that I knew everybody wanted to see, that final moment with the two of them, back together. And so after we shot that scene, I was at ease and relaxed, and I was ready to go. Before that, I was very excited and anxious, as everybody else was, but after that, I knew, oh, we're good.
I couldn't wait to read the first script, like wondering, okay, we talked about it for so long, like what's going to be the way in? And then I read it and I was like, oh, this is so good. And I don't want to spoil anything, but so many of the choices that were made were, I thought, such a cool way in. First day on set, we
What was
walked
your
onto
first
the
scene? I forgot.
the scene from when I come and see you I look through the door and you
Yeah,
look
I remember
really
that. That's
sad.
right.
Oh,
And then
yeah,
that was the
that's
first
right.
one. But what had happened is like we went 2 days before to rehearse, and you walk on the stages, and like Zach said, like these hospital sets, they were built like exactly. So we had spent our 20s in this hospital, and it was like you got goosebumps walking in because it was identical, like admissions with like the weird octagon ceiling tiles, like everything is exactly the same. So that was super cool. So we went for rehearsal 2 days before, and Zach was talking to all the new kids, and he was like, Chalky's gonna break something every day. Every day there's gonna be a story. So the next day I did break my finger. And so my first day on set, I did come in with a broken finger. It felt right.
Well, if you're gonna break your finger, you may as well be in a fake hospital when it happens, right?
You may as
Feel
well.
a little safer, I guess.
Yeah, with people that kind of know what they're
I
doing.
just love that
I didn't know what I saw that thing and I was like, damn, girl.
I just love that she delivered because I told these young interns, you're going to think this is an exaggeration. But 90% of the days that you work on the show, Sarah will come in and say, you're not going to believe what happened to me. And Sarah came in day one with a broken finger because she fell on a trail or something.
Yeah.
Fell on a trail.
Yeah, walking, just running with dogs.
She delivered.
I'm
just happy she delivered.
Oh man, well we'll keep an eye out for your broken finger in the rest of the episodes.
Yeah, it is an Easter egg because what we did is it had to be buddy taped, and so for a lot of them, I literally like it's just gonna be like there's gonna be like a weird taping.
It's
on
like the
back.
reverse of Live Long and Prosper.
Yeah,
It's like the Nanu Nanu that Mork used to do. Nanu Nanu.
Yeah. The problem was that I used to, just for fun back in the day, just spontaneously crack Sarah's knuckles.
Yeah.
And a couple times I almost did it. And she was like, no finger. And I was like, oops, sorry.
Broken finger.
Zach, you mentioned directing the pilot of The Revival. You're obviously a very esteemed director. You've directed episodes of the show prior.
Thank you.
But I want to know whether or not it was challenging in any ways that surprised you to direct the pilot.
Yeah, it's a big show. I think a lot of people don't know the scale of in which the show is made. I've been directing, since I did Scrubs, I've directed in terms of TV, Ted Lasso and Shrinking, and this new show with Steve Carell called Rooster on HBO. And they all have their unique challenges, but Scrubs, almost every scene has about 60 to 70 background. The set is 30,000 square feet. There's fantasies, there's drama, there's comedy, and we still shoot it in the old school network way of an episode in 5 days. And then somehow cut it all down to 21 minutes and 30 seconds. It's really hard. I can't believe we ever do it, but somehow we almost always seem to get through it. We just start. It seems so daunting. The pilot in particular, it was so daunting. It was like, oh my God, the tone, we gotta get the tone right. And these are all these new people. Where every single scene we're introducing new characters, we have to make sure we introduce them correctly. This is their moment. What is not only what are the legacy cast like, but what are these new people like? One thing I'd never done in directing all those shows, including Scrubs, is that around Tuesday, next week's script comes out, and now I'm an EP on the show, and I have to worry about that. And you're already getting like auditions and videos of props, and you're like, whoa. How do I possibly stay present as an actor and a director and also start worrying about next week? So that was something I'd never experienced before.
Well, I want to know, for season 1 anyway, as EPs, did you get to influence the direction of the show in ways that you wish you had been able to on the original run?
I can say this. I think I have the funniest joke in Scrubs history.
Oh my God.
As an EP, I pitched a joke for Vanessa Bayer, and she delivered, as she always does. And to this day, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say,
It's the funniest joke of all time on Scrubs.
Of all time. And
let me tell you what actually happened.
I was the EP.
Let me tell you what actually happened. Donald has riffed many a funny joke on Scrubs.
Yes.
But for the first time as an EP, he had the courage
yes,
to riff a joke for somebody else. And
it was
worked,
fantastic.
And it was a great joke. And he was like, "Eat peeing done."
Right, I fulfilled my quota for the year.
Yeah, next year we'll get
Next
two
year
jokes.
we'll get to it. Right.
Yeah. I think it's pretty safe to say that JD is still very hungry for the approval of Dr. Cox
Yeah.
when we jump back in with him. Has how he goes after that approval changed in any way in the revival?
I don't think he's. I mean, yeah, he's looking for it, but he's not expecting anything to be different. And I think one of the reasons the pilot is so moving to me is that in that end scene, he gets the most affirmation he's ever gotten from him by saying, like, I mean, JD's so shocked early in that earlier scene. He's like, "Are you messing with me?" Like, even in the finale of 8 of the OG Scrubs, he was not as candid and honest with JD. Like, you're the one. You're the one. You're my prize pupil of all time.
Except for when JD sets Cox up and has Sonny to be like, oh, he was just another doctor. And then one of my favorite scenes in Scrubs ever, you're standing behind Cox and Cox raves about you and you're like, that was awesome.
When we catch up with Elliot, she's in this place where she's actually surprisingly feeling pretty isolated. I think we can say that. Was that a difficult place to jump back in with that character for you?
I loved where they picked having Elliot jump back in. First of all, obviously in the first iteration, Elliot was full of neuroses and just coming in as a new doctor and not confident and insecure about every choice and insecure about killing a patient and all these things. So having her come back as someone who's actually a really great doctor and super good at her job and cares and is a leader and wants to teach these interns and it has that area of her life really dialed, I loved. In terms of her personal life, I thought it was such an interesting way in to have them start being divorced because I feel like having the comedy and the drama that can come out of the conflict of that was really interesting. It was fun, even in the first 9, what we've gotten to do in terms of their figuring out, okay, like who are we actually going to be to each other now?
Donald, we catch up with Turk in a fairly similar spot to where Elliot is, where he's feeling some isolation of his own. Same kind of question. What was it like picking up with Turk in that sort of different spot?
It's easy to be miserable when you have company. You know what I mean? And Turk, when we start this, is miserable but alone. He misses that element of friendship that he had when things are hard and when things aren't necessarily going the way that they normally would go for him. It's now surgery after surgery after surgery, and that's how he's looking at work. His best friend shows back up and wants to jump back into the same rhythm that they had before, and he's like, nah, we can't. Before we jump back into that, we have to first settle all of the things we've kind of buried and we're not talking about. Like, I haven't worked with you in a while, and when the last time I worked with you, we had so much fun together, and you walked away from it, and you left me here by myself, and now I'm here, doing this job, this thankless job, and there's nobody at the end of the day for me to turn to. I have my wife and everything like that, but when you were here, we could do so many other things.
And there's a lot of resentment and judgment from him, too, because he's like, you learned all that and you put in all those years and you're writing scripts in the suburbs.
Right, and you're freaking stitching toes together, you're removing splinters. That's a big thing to play for an actor, you know what I mean? Especially someone who's been silly a whole career on a show, who's pretty much helped with the punchlines and the jokes and stuff like that. And so I was very excited when that scene came up. I remember just the storyline itself, I remember I rehearsed it over and over again, and then when we were about to shoot it, something happened and we couldn't shoot it, so I had another month just to sit on it and think about it. And I remember Zach kept asking me, dude, please know your lines when it comes. And I was like, oh, I'm ready for it. And I brushed him off like, come on, man. Because I knew when the moment came, I would be ready, because it's a great thing, you know what I mean? It's a good storyline to have for any actor, just something to play against type, and that's what he got to do. That's what I got to do.
One of my favorite parts of Scrubs has always been the fact that JD and Turk really model one of the healthiest male friendships that I've ever seen on TV, like codependence notwithstanding, because there's a little of that. I want to know for you guys, like, how important was it for you to continue to evolve that for the revival?
Now more than ever, we on the podcast we have Scott Galloway on. I don't know if you know him, but he writes and speaks a lot about the male loneliness epidemic, and it was really interesting hearing him talk about it And over the years, I think Donald and I have heard, in a non-jokey way, a lot of men say that we modeled for them a way that they could be with their male friends.
I tell my male friends that I love them when I get off the phone with them. Like, I don't know if I would have done that without JD and Turk sort of showing
that's
that.
very
That's,
nice.
that's,
cool.
that's the most beautiful articulation of it than anything I could say. But we've heard that over the years, and I think when we were kids, like if you were straight and you expressed male love, you were called gay. It was a derogatory thing. Everything was, oh, you being gay and pushed away, and that was how we grew up in our era. And I think when Scrubs came on and Bill's writing was like, I want to show like two guys that really love each other. They happen to be straight, that's a side point, but they have this real close love for each other. And so I love that people like yourself use that as a touchstone. That means the world to us.
For my money, the needle drops in Scrubs are some of the best we've ever seen in TV. Like all the Colin Hay stuff, How to Save a Life, some really memorable moments. Are there any big needle drops that we can kind of expect in this revival that you guys
That's
love?
a good question to ask this gentleman right here.
Anything you can tease?
Well, there's a banger we drop in the pilot.
Oh yeah, I loved that.
That Turk cues with his remote.
Yep.
But
this is the king of the mixtape right here.
Well, I also have to give a lot of credit to Krista Miller, who plays Jordan, who did the bulk of a lot of the OG music choosing, and we have her again with the new show. But yes, we're still mixing and cutting them all right now. So yes, I promise the people who love the music on the show will be pleased. We're gonna put the same amount of love into it.
Great. Well, it was so nice talking to you
Yeah, it
guys.
was so
Scrubs
great.
airs at 8 o'clock on ABC, Hulu the next day. We have plenty more FanFest coming up. Don't miss it.
Thank you. That was great.
Guys, thank you so much.
So has this IGN Fan Fest been amazing or what? We're getting close to saying goodbye to the show today, but believe it or not, we have one more surprise for you.
I guess you could say there's one piece of the puzzle left.
Did you just say one piece?
I did. Turns out I'm pretty bad at keeping secrets. Roll it.
There's gotta be some safer islands around here.
It doesn't seem like it. We're low on food and pretty much everything. This could be our last chance to stock up before we get into the Grand Line.
It is dangerous to enter the Grand Line underprepared, and we're not that far away. Maybe we could...
You're free for the first time in your life. Haven't you earned the right to buy yourself a little something nice?
No. No. Don't you fall for it.
I could do with a little shopping.
What? What? Curse you, Sanji! Curse you! And your charm, your chiseled jawline, your ocean eyes. We need someone who can talk some sense to the... Zoro! Zoro! Buddy, back me up here. Sanji and Nami want to go to an island full of Marines to go shopping, which I think is a pretty stupid idea considering me and Luffy are on our wanted poster now. Tell them you agree with me.
Shopping.
Yeah, can you believe it?
Good idea.
What?
I need 2 more swords. Been feeling off. Since the sword shatter and ass kicking Mihawk gave you? Shut up, you weren't even there. Well, that's all I needed to.
Sorry, Usopp. That's another vote for Lowtown.
This isn't over yet. Where's Luffy?
What do you think?
Luffy! Crew meeting.
Coming!
Hey! What's up?
Luffy!
I've always respected your position as captain on this crew, and now's the time for you to step up and put your foot down with these hooligans, otherwise we're gonna get killed.
What do you mean?
We need to make a stop.
But we're going to the Grand Line so that I can find the One Piece and
become king of the pirates. And we want to get there too, Luffy, but we need to stop in Lowtown to get some things first.
What's in Loathing?
Death!
I don't want that.
I need new swords.
Good. That could help with the death.
And we need more food for the journey ahead.
Even better.
And it's also the place where Gold Roger was executed. The place where the king of the pirates was born and died. Where the legend of the One Piece was born. You want to see it, don't you?
You know I do!
And you thought we were gonna skip Lowtown.
Well, IGN Fan Fest 2026 is coming to an end, but a huge thank you to everyone who took the time to watch from wherever you are, but extra bonus thanks to anyone who watched from school or work. We won't tell.
If you had fun watching FanFest and want to be a part of something even bigger, up close and personal, we'd like to invite you to join us at IGN Live 2026. This June, we're returning to downtown Los Angeles for our third annual in-person event celebrating the best in pop culture.
It's all taking place June 6th and 7th, and you can find more info at ign.com/live or scanning the QR code on screen. It's a ton of fun, and we'd love to see you there.
But in the meantime, for all the latest in gaming and entertainment news, reviews, interviews, all the oohs really, you're already in the right place, IGN.
Ooh, GN, right?
Ooh.
IGN Fan Fest is presented by Neverness to Everness and HyperX.
The Cinefix Top 100. A list so secretive even we don't know what movies are on it or where they rank.
What do you mean you don't know?
Each episode will reveal one of the movies.
Did I rush it? Felt like I rushed. That was good. I liked it.
Talk about why it belongs and finally find out where it ranks.
Are you not entertained?
Are any of the movies we've shown here even on the list? I have no idea, and it drives me crazy. Join us as we find out on Cinefix, IGN, and wherever you get your podcasts.
Why so serious?
Catch up on all your favorite shows with up-to-the-minute gaming and entertainment news with Geek Media Podcasts.
Welcome to a very special episode of IGN Game Scoop.
Game Scoop has you covered for all things gaming and the latest game releases. Tune into Podcast Beyond for the biggest PlayStation news.
Man, this is a cool looking trailer.
Everything Xbox on Podcasts Unlocked.
This is Steve Downs, the voice of Master Chief.
Catch up with your Super Nintendos on Nintendo Voice Chat.
Switched to pre-order Mania. It was chaotic last night.
And get all the latest console news and rumors with Next Gen Console Watch.
Now Xbox and Phil Spencer are even saying that a mid-gen refresh isn't even necessary.
The Cinefix Top 100 podcast picks a movie every week to celebrate and debate.
It's kind of every movie's grandpa.
Geek Media Podcasts, the best podcasts from around the world.
IGN Playlist is the best way to track your game collection. Now you can even import your entire Steam library to Playlist, making it easier than ever to review games, show off your collection of the world, and finally chip away at that massive backlog you keep meaning to get to. IGN Playlist, check it out.
Can't find that final collectible you're missing? IGN guides are trusted by millions, easy to use, and best of all, free. IGN has the very best, most complete and accurate guides for Shadow of the Erdtree, Baldur's Gate 3, Tears of the Kingdom, and so much more.
It's good, right?
Every guide is tested and verified for you by experts. Just search for IGN when you search for guides.